Hello everyone and welcome to a game called To Eat a God. This is a horror visual novel I've been looking to play for a while. You have 3 characters to choose from that you can play. I'm not sure if I'm choosing all of them. Depends on how this goes. Let's go ahead and start. In the garden, there exist 7 symbols to which one must worship. Each one represents a concept linked to the creation of the garden. The symbols are entities generated by the creator to maintain order and the functioning of the garden. All beings born under the command of the garden have a limited connection with their representative symbol depending on the day they are born. No one is born on Sundays. Sundays are a sacred day. It is said that the symbols choose 6 people after the candle festival to consume them, in the hope that one of them is the reincarnation of the creator. I'm the reincarnation of the creator. Your character's past doesn't matter. It's just another body for you to take. Something you're already used to, I guess. Welcome to the garden, a place used as a test, a disposable old place after finishing playing it. The game is simple. You must not let the other characters find out that your puppet is connected to you. Your puppet will be sent as a gift for the symbols, and you should act as if you belong there. Please do not do anything that is outside of these stipulations, nor summon the name of the representative of the void. This is strictly prohibited. Even if you are given the opportunity, don't do it. You feel yourself fall on a hard surface, scraping your knees. It's a sharp knock that makes a strange echo in the place. You hear the sound of silverware being scraped on a plate, and then dead silence. Something is wrong. Well, here we are. First thing to do. Let's keep them closed. You keep your eyes closed for a moment, but then you hear a voice clearing its throat awkwardly. You decide to open your eyes and see where you are. You look where you have fallen and realize you are on a table. You fell right on top of a cake, causing your entire hand and part of your knee to be stained with chocolate. Hey! You hear a voice behind you, and reflexively you turn to see who it is. In front of you is a man who looks back at you in amazement, and before you can ask what's going on, he interrupts you. You shouldn't be here. You have got to be kidding me. I can't believe the distribution mechanism has broken down again. I have to do everything myself. There's no one here responsible enough to verify if everything's in order. You feel like invisible hands grab you by the arms and legs and plunge you into a void for the table. Little by little, you sink into a dark void that envelopes you. The sensation is strange, warmly strange. What the hell? There's no information about you. This can't be possible. Let's ask what's going on. What's happening? I can't see the connection with your symbol. Apparently you are not a subject. Pardon me, I was wrong. Welcome. I've been waiting for you. Mother said she would send them a new toy. The word toy doesn't sound right, and you feel a small twinge of discomfort at the strangeness of the situation. But remember that you have to put on a good face. Act natural, like you really belong here. After what happened to the last one, I really hope you last longer. You really don't want to know what happened to the last one. My name is Nuala, owner of the Void. Nice to meet you. Before we leave, I need your name. What's your name? Mia. Mia. Welcome to the Void, Mia. Nola extends a hand to you in order to squeeze yours tightly in the style of a greeting. Despite the seconds passing, he doesn't let you go. You feel like his gaze is devouring your soul. It seems like he was looking for something. I want to keep looking. You are. Nola's gaze turns blank for a second, quickly to only to quickly be replaced by eyes filled with wonder. You're from there? You're not from here. You feel Nola pull your hand, bringing your body closer to him. Instantly, his other hand begins to squeeze your neck, blocking the entry of your air into your lungs. I see you. Before the vision completely blurs, Nola lets you go. So this is nothing more than a puppet. I apologize for my behavior, but I didn't think I would be facing something from the upper plane. You are adorable. If I kill the puppet, maybe I can get you out of it, and I'll be able to exit this loop. Don't move, please. It will only be a second. Well, if I say, alright. Nola doesn't let you speak. In a moment, he has you in his arms again, and one of his hands rests upon your chest. I'll remove your essence, and with that, I'll be able to get you out of there. It won't hurt. At least not for you, Miu. I can't say the same for the puppet. I feel how Nola rips open your chest and begins to extract something from inside. It hurts. It hurts so much. Your sight begins to blur. Hey, what's going on? No. No, it's not fair. Yeah, I got the bad end. I know. I kind of want to be like, I don't think that's a good idea. Nola doesn't let you speak. Yeah, he doesn't let me speak. You feel Nola pull your hand, bringing your body closer to him. Instantly, his other hand begins to squeeze your neck, blocking the air. Nope, you don't see me. I'm not here. What are you talking about? Look away. You look away, unable to bear the way Nola's eyes made holes in your head. Your eyes travel to where your hands are connected. You are the first to let go, causing Nola to snicker. I guess Mother gave you life and didn't explain anything to you. How negligent on her part. You'll have to help in the hotel today. You will serve as a waiter in the dining room. There are symbols. Some symbols are coming to my hotel today because they have a meeting. If you serve them well, maybe they will take you as an apprentice. Oh, that's where the choice comes in. But now, you're just a toy, so be careful. The entity that calls himself Nola touches your forehead, and you feel invisible hands grab your limbs and push you back once more. And with this, the floor swallows you in total blackness. Don't be scared. We'll arrive to our destination soon. Despite not seeing anything, you feel like you're floating in the void. Out of nowhere, a strange pressure is exerting on your body, giving you the sensation that you're falling. And sure enough, you fall on yours hands on the cold floor. You look around and the place has changed. You no longer find yourself in the same kitchen as before. Now is a larger one, similar to the kitchens that are in the restaurants. We have arrived. You look up to find Nola, who is standing next to you, but he doesn't look at you. Beyond, near the knives, there's a strange-looking person. Nola looks at him. Hey, Fames. The strange-looking man jumps upon hearing Nola. When you look more closely, you realize that he is wearing a mask that prevents you from seeing his features. Mr. Nola, I thought you wouldn't come today. He doesn't sound very happy at Nola's arrival. I had a little problem. Does it have to do with the smelly creature next to you? Smelly? You tilt your head slightly to verify his statement, finding that you don't even smell like anything at all. Something like that. Mr. Nola, that thing smells like a human. I have to return them to the warehouse. You should check your sense of smell, Fames. It's getting worse. This is the new toy that Mother has sent to entertain the symbols. But the last one was completely broken by Quinku. I thought you and Mother agreed that no more would be made. That was because Quinku is an animal. He doesn't take care of things. But I guess Mother can't leave Spectrum without his weekly meal. It's obvious you're burned by the favoritism. In a way, you feel like you're the third wheel in the conversation. It's not like you have much to contribute either. Anyway, I have faith in this creation. There is something different about it, different from the others. The only difference is that it reeks of human. Maybe the 7 of them will like that. Fames leaves to go and search for a plate. When he returns, you can appreciate what is there. Nola does the same from his side. It's meat. Nula looks at Fames with a smug face. If you allow them to attend to the symbols, maybe you'll save some of your employees from losing their lives. Lately, the symbols have been very displeased. Okay, you win. Now please stop interrupting my work. Nula detaches himself from Fames and begins to walk towards the door that appears to be the exit from the kitchen. I'll see you later. You in charge of Fames. Adios. What an idiot. Fine. I need you to attend to the symbols that will be arriving shortly. Meanwhile, prepare a table for them. Fame shows the table where the symbols will sit and explains that they're separate from the normal public because they have important topics to discuss amongst themselves. Fames has also instructed you that the food must be set on the table before they arrive. You are now unsupervised. I don't think escape is an option in the land of the gods, but you look everywhere searching for traces of Nula or Fames. There's nothing but empty tables. Something in your stomach tells you shouldn't do it. A bad omen. But you desire to free yourself and escape from here is stronger. You walk at a slow pace to not attract attention, pretending you're looking for something. The front door is closed, so you can't go out there. Instead, there's a staircase that leads down. I guess we're gonna go downstairs. You decide to go inspect it. Maybe there will be an exit. It's so dark you can barely see your feet. When you reach the end of the stairs, you find a door. You try your luck by pulling the handle. The door opens without much effort. You are shocked to find bodies hanging. Without wanting to look anymore, you prepare to run, but you crash into a hard body. Who gave you permission to come here? You aren't doing what you're asked of you. I can't risk my reputation or Mother's. Mother do not make failed creatures, nor can I stand incompetent apprentices. Nula points the gun at your forehead and without second thought pulls the trigger. Bad end. Oh, how could this happen to me? I made my mistakes. Do what they ask you. You shouldn't risk escaping. It's better to do what they ask for and act normally. You set the table very comfortably. From time to time, Fames passes by in order to inspect how it's going for you. Once he considers that you finished setting the table, he calls into the kitchen. He explains that you have to place the starter dishes and then wait for the symbols to arrive. While Fames prepares the dishes, he informs you that only five of the symbols are coming today. Each one has an intimidating aura, and all of them are very prone to responding immeasurably to his workers if they don't like something. Especially Umno. He has those two eyes that follow you everywhere. I heard that he took those eyes from Quater in a fight. I hate that brat. Once Fames finishes preparing the starters, he leaves them on the counter and reluctantly wishes you good luck. There are 5 dishes, but due to your lack of extra hands, you only take 2, a plate on each side. You walk the same route you've been taking, but upon approaching the table, you see that something isn't right. It is not empty. From the shock, you almost drop your plates. There are 2 people comfortably sitting at the table that's supposed to be for the symbols. They gaze at you with the blonde with the ridiculous crown looking at you expectantly, while the redhead smiles at you from ear to ear. His teeth remind you of sharks. There's a moment in which none of the 3 of you takes the initiative or reacts, but they don't appear nervous. What's more, they're waiting for your reaction so they can continue with their business. Yo, I'm the player, bros. What's up? I know it may sound very strange. Whoa, hold on, what am I saying? But I am nothing more than a vessel that is linked to an entity from another plane. They control me, and right now they have broken one of the rules they were initially told not to break. And that's enough! If some characters have problems later, it will be your own fault. Let's continue. Unam, the blonde's voice resonates both around you and inside your head. A chill runs through your body. Don't laugh so loudly. I didn't remember that they had so much autonomy. You don't know how to answer that, So you decide to look beyond the table, and you realize that Nula is watching you with an intense gaze. Can I be the first to use them? You must wait for the others. They said that they'd be late because Queen Q was throwing a tantrum. We have to wait at least an hour. There is an awkward silence before the blonde breaks it. Between you and Queen Q, I don't know who is worse. The redhead narrows his eyes, looking at the blonde with anger, but doesn't say or refute anything. Instead, he chooses to look at you and crosses his arms. He says, "We can make the most of our time and start. So when the others arrive, we'll already be ready. Besides, I never get the essence, only the trashy parts. What would I gain if we start early? You always complain that they break them too quickly. Besides, the time you take when it is your turn is eternal." Quader said it's because you like to talk to the gift before devouring its essence. You're very strange. That's not your business. You wouldn't understand it anyway. I know. How about we make the most of our time and do that thing you do with the gift? Talk to the gift? We would have to seal the table. Call Nula to it. Nula! In the blink of an eye, Nula materializes next to you with his gaze fixed on the blonde. His Holiness Septim. The tone used by Nula to the blonde Septim was surely one, as if he had an aversion just to naming the blonde's title. Need something? I want you to seal the table for a while. Hey, but I don't want you to listen in to what I'm talking about with the gift. I want privacy, you know. You're so demanding. And what do you propose? You could let the gift choose and summon one of your names. You assume they're talking about you. You look directly into Nula's eyes and feel that he stares at you, implicitly commanding you to not refuse. Oh, we've never done this before. Sounds interesting. Well, who do you choose? Okay. Well, this is interesting, yes. Septim. Well, you've done well. Now comes the hard part. If you want to survive by the time the meeting begins, you must get yourself accepted as an apprentice. Otherwise, your puppet's body will be devoured. Okay. Nula, you can seal the table now. In a matter of seconds, you stop seeing the redhead and Nula, leaving only Septim at the table with you. A few seconds of silence pass. You assume that you should take the lead and start the conversation. If not, you fear that he will get bored and eat you. And you can't bear standing still like an idiot under the critical gaze of Septim, which is a little scary. You should think about it a little before making a decision. Oh boy, here we go. I'm gonna die immediately. Sit the chair without their permission. Under the surprised look of Septim, you decide to sit down as if the place belonged to you. Surely he didn't expect that. You're always 2 steps ahead. Who gave you permission to sit? You're beginning to believe that it wasn't a very good idea. The only rule here is to respect your superiors, and you have the audacity to disrespect me. You should thank me for even giving you my time and gracing you with my presence. Worm, I have no choice but to punish this offense. I'm sure the others will understand. To your horror, Scepter begins to approach, close, but without invading your personal space, unable to run or advance any further. You can only expect the worst. You are the worst gift so far. I had faith that you would be different, but not in this sense. Septim grabs you by the collar and lifts you to his level. You try to free yourself, but it's in vain. You feel your chest being torn apart and a hand searching for your organs for something specific. By the time he finds it, you're already losing your sight. Oh. Devoured by the 7th. Of course, I'm not trying to get all the bad ends. It seems like there's a lot of them. Wait until he speaks. You don't want to risk moving a muscle, nor breathing, nor speaking. Something in his gaze tells you that You should be careful. So now it seems like a staring contest because of how intent Septum's eyes are on you. First one to blink loses. 30 seconds pass effortlessly without either of you blinking, and you are already at your limit. Damn. If you keep this up, you're going to lose. And Mama don't make no losers. 20 more seconds pass. You know because you're counting them, and yet Septum doesn't blink or say anything. I mean, he's a perfect being, apparently. A god. So it'll be hard for his eyes to get tired. What a shame. You accept your defeat, blinking urgently, which causes Septum to laugh. You can sit now. Cautiously, you take a seat in front of Septum, who smiles at you, pleased that you comply without much protest. When you settle in your chair, you realize, well, you're not sure what to do or say, or what not to say. So you have 3 options. I don't know. I always liked silence. You think it's the safest thing to do, waiting for him to start the conversation. Having seen the Septum has serious control problems, you consider it to be the best option. Although you can't think of what to say anyways, so you accept your fate, whatever it may be. I'll get straight to the point. I know a puppet when I see one. You have the same eyes, and I can see that their will tends to override your commands. You don't have complete control. You brace yourself for the worst, that he might gut you or break a bone, and nothing happens. Septum is just watching you. Oh, fear not. Mother does not have access to a sealed place, so she won't punish you. Although his words are intended to calm you down, the effect they have on you is quite the opposite. The level of synchronization that you have is not complete. You two are not feeling the same, and your reactions tend to contradict one another. If you had complete control, you could interact with this world however you want it. A total immersion, not limited like the one you're experiencing behind that screen. I'm sure Nulla has already found out, so we must act quickly. I can help you. You will follow my commands if you want to survive. When Nulla removes the seal, don't move. I accept. You accept in hopes that you can stay alive. You will do whatever it takes to live. You earn a smile from Septum upon hearing your response. Nulla must be about to remove the seal. You nod your head. Not even 3 seconds pass when you feel a strange pressure on your body. You assume it must be Nulla. Nulla and the redhead materialize right where you saw them last. Nulla standing on one side of the table, and the redhead sitting next to Septum. As if they have always been there. Septum looks at Nulla with a long face. Noticing this, he speaks faster than usual. I see that you didn't like the gift from very much. You could give it to me, and I'll tell Mother to exchange it for another one. He sounds anxious. It seems that it is not of the highest quality. Unum thinks the same, so I suppose the others will think so too. Nulla begins to approach you with the intent to take hold of your arm. His gaze doesn't leave your figure. There's no need. It will go with me to my domain. Talk to Mother to bring another gift. I doubt it will take more than 5 minutes. Sorry, but I cannot tarnish Mother's name with such a mediocre offering. Nulla grabs your arm intently and attempts to talk to you. Play along with me. It's not safe. But Septum stops him by striking Nulla from behind. Son of a... In a blink of an eye, Septum pierces Nulla's chest. I won't let you ruin it. And with disdain, he pushes the black-haired man's body to the side, causing him to fall with a thump. Nulla lies on the ground, coughing up blood. I said I'll take it with me. Onum urgently gets up from the table, but deciding not to approach them. Wow, Septum, we are in a public in public. If anyone were to see you, shut your mouth, Nula. You can tell the others I'll be busy. The terror you feel freezes you into place. It seems accepting. Septum's offer wasn't the best idea. But in a way, you thank the gods that Septum's wrath isn't focused on you. Although you feel a little bad that it has been on Nula. Septum turns around in order to be able to see you face to face, and without explaining anything, he touches your forehead delicately. And your vision blurs, and suddenly you stop hearing Nula's laboring breathing and the ambient noise of the dining room. And then give way to dull darkness. You wake up to the feeling of falling. And then you realize you're in a warm, spacious bed. The first thing your eyes see is a huge window that is located on the side of the bed. You assume it's daytime because of the light coming in, but it's strange that you can't see anything more than the brightness outside the window. Suddenly, what happened comes to your mind, and you hurriedly look for any trace of Septum. There's no one in the room with you. Alright? Feel like I'm being studied or something. Investigate the room. You get out of bed with difficulty. The room is disgustingly spacious, with an atmosphere that reminds you of a hospital. All white with no traces of any color. Nothing found here invokes a sense of belonging or trace of personality. It's weird. I see you've already woken up. It's time for breakfast. Septum is near the window with his hands behind his back. You have no idea where he came from, and it gives you goosebumps. It seems that you take more time than necessary to answer him because Septum grimaces irritatedly. Did you hear me? You nod. Okay, let's go. Septum puts his hands together, and the place begins to change. The bed and the room transform into a dining room with the same color palettes. You fall into the chair in front of the table that had already had plates and food served atop them. Septum is seated in front of you. The puppet hasn't eaten anything for more than 24 hours. You must eat, otherwise the puppet won't work properly. For some reason, although you couldn't explain why, it seems like he was speaking from experience. You don't dare do anything since Septum hasn't given you permission to start eating, and you don't want to tempt fate. You can eat. While eating, you realize that something strange. Septum no longer has that voice which resonates both with your head and body. That somewhat unstable and at the same time inorganic voice. It's normal now. You don't think it's a good idea to ask him if it might be disrespectful to talk about that kind of thing. I don't like that we have the puppet interfering in our conversation. But it is essential to be able to connect you to this world. I respect you. Being an entity from a higher plane, you probably have more power than me or Mother combined. It could be very similar to the power of the Creator. Unfortunately, that power cannot demonstrate right now, since you are only visiting here. I bet the Creator is the game creator, right? You'll probably forget this world when you cut the bond with me. What was that? A voice slipped into your thoughts. You don't like this. I need time. Enough just do what I say. Time for what? Time for what? Septum looks at you before answering completely seriously. Time to change the vessel and become a perfect being. You, Mew, are what I need. But the more time passes, the more independence your puppet will acquire. And we need their permission to make this change. That will be a problem if you don't know how to control them. Septum is lying. I would never go against you or disobey your commands. Mew, I am here to serve you. Don't believe him. Septum lets out a small laugh as he watches your reaction. You should be more careful. They are already starting to disengage from you. And if that happens, you will no longer be of use to me. The blonde gets up from the table and examines his hands for a long time. See you at lunch. And in the meantime, you can roam around my domain as you please. Septum leaves the table, taking the now empty plates somewhere else, and you assume it must be to the kitchen. You wait for Septum to appear again, as you can't believe he would leave you unsupervised and give you a free pass to do whatever you want. But he doesn't appear again. You stand there collecting your thoughts, analyzing everything you've been told and everything that has happened. Septum wants to give you complete control, complete synchronization with this body. But I don't understand what he would be gaining in return. He is not trustworthy. You need Nulla. Do you need Nulla? I don't know. I want to say no. You don't need Nulla. Whatever your answer, you don't know if Nulla is still alive or not. So you must remain on your own for now. You spend your time walking through what appears to be a temple. Well, they have a bunch of statues of Septum and paintings with religious allegory. And inside, you find a bunch of doors. I'll investigate the doors. Go to the front door. You go to the door in front of you. When you open it, you find that it leads to a hallway. You decide to see where it leads you. You walk and continue walking down the hall. But it feels like you're not moving forward. Although if you look back, you can no longer see the door you came in through. You continue walking, now paying attention to the walls and the decoration of the hallway. It repeats itself after a while. There's no point in continuing. You return around and go back the way you came. It takes you a little while, but you manage to reach the initial door. Go to the back door. You go to the door behind, which is guarded by two statues with a figure of Septum. You expect the door to be closed, but surprisingly it's not. When you open the door, you realize that it's darker than it should be in there. But it's not because you're a coward, but you're not going to go in there. Go to the door on your left. You go to what was the left of the altar. It's locked. You need a key. Let's find the key. There must be something to open the door. Let's go to the second floor. You go to the second floor. You search the whole place, but at first glance there's nothing interesting. In one of the drawers you find a key and several documents. It seems important. You put the key in your pocket because it seems important. But they are written in a language you can't understand. Alright, let's go to the door on the left. Use the key. Maybe the key you found on the second floor can be used to open this door. When using it, the lock clicks. It's open. Inside, you find a room very similar to the one you woke up in today. The only difference is that there is someone lying there. You approach and find Septum sleeping. Realizing your mistake, you try to walk away without making a sound. But Septum opened his eyes before you can do anything. Who are you? What? Doesn't he remember you? Septum? Septum quickly gets out of bed to place both his hands on your mouth. Don't say his name! You try to shake his hands off, but it's useless. We are not in his presence, so please do not summon him. He, seeing you calm down a little, released his grip, slowly uncovering your mouth. Where did you find the key? Answer. On the second floor, hidden in the drawers there. Oh, wait a moment. He comes closer to you, carefully. He gazes directly into your eyes, and what he sees seems to take his breath away. This is clearly not Septum. There's something different about him. You're also being controlled by a higher being. Pardon? They're using you like a puppet. Ha! Ha! It can't be! The entity that is not Septum takes a few steps back, dejected by the situation. It's the first time someone is inside the temple. The entity that has Septum's body sits on the bed and motions for you to do the same. He looks nervous. Noticing that he doesn't seem to be a threat, you sit down, just to know what's going on. It's strange to see Septum's face with an expression that even seems cute to you. You can't help but stare at his cute face. At this, he seems to get more nervous. A giggle escapes you accidentally. What's so funny? He wants to look imposing, but it doesn't work. If he really was Septum, he wouldn't be hesitating like he is right now. Okay. You're cute. You just met me, and that's the first thing you can think of to say? Yes, you're strange. I think I understand now. He wants to have the entity that is controlling you. Sooner or later he will replace me. But can I ask you a favor? You nod, mostly because you want to know what he'll ask of you. He has some documents in the void room. There must be the document of my birth with my name. Please look for it. I will give you freedom if you do. And you can escape from him. Escape from Septum? Sounds like a good offer. Gah, cough, cough. The entity begins to cough as if choking. You must go. Without another word, he stands up and pushes you out of his room. Well, I know where those documents are. I sat at the door for a long time. You knock a few times, but there's no response. Okay. Let's go to the second floor. You go to the second floor. Yeah, the documents are right there. So let's go to the door on the left. Use the key. Maybe the key you found on the second floor can be used to open this door. Oh man. Why is this a loop? Who are you? Wait a minute. He comes closer to look at you carefully. He gazes directly into your eyes. Okay. I want to know, what's your name? I can't say. What if you write it down? I'm not allowed to do anything that reveals my name. If I do, I will die. I think I understand now. He wants to have the entity that is controlling you. Sooner or later, he would replace me. Can I ask you a favor? You nod mostly because... I feel like I'll be in the loop forever. He'll never take those documents. Huh. Can you take the documents and give it to him or something? Okay, we'll wait until lunch. I can't. You wait for the hours to pass. You doze off thinking about what happened with Nola and why Septum knows about you. But you find no answer to either of the two questions. Time passes quickly enough to surprise you with Septum's arrival at the altar. You wait for him to speak so you can talk. It's time for lunch. You're tempted to ask why he puts so much emphasis on sharing mealtimes with you. If he's worrying about you eating, then there's no need to sit down and eat with you. You suspect it will be like this for you the entire stay. Septum teleports you to the dining room again, where the two of you are greeted by the dishes already placed on the table once more. Septum waits for you to start eating before he does. He doesn't seem very willing to have a conversation, but you can't help but think that there's something strange about his attitude. His aura is not the same as it was as the one he had inside that room. His behavior is totally different. Here it shows a confident mask, but there a completely opposite one. Why do you have a different attitude now? Oh, what do you mean? You explained to him what happened in the altar room. The more you explain the situation to him, which strangely he doesn't seem to remember, Septim's face turns red and more serious. He seems to be holding in his anger. How did you find it? The key always stays with me. Out of nowhere, Septim grabs your wrist and twists it so hard it breaks your bones. The crunch of every bone is horrible and the pain is unbearable, but you can't do anything but cry. For Septim's grip doesn't loosen on anything, not even in the hits or scratches you deal him with your other hand. You're like an animal caught in a bear trap. You're so nosy. Septim smiles and he cuts off your head. Bad ending, better keep quiet. Alright, I message received. I'm not gonna say anything. You don't want to risk your life by asking, so you decide to remain silent for now. Septim shows no interest in sharing any kind of conversation, so you eat in silence. Septim eats slowly. He seems totally disconnected from the action, as if doing it automatically. Your eyes have been on my face for a long time. Something wrong? Alright, let's do another save, but over this one. We already know what happens when we die. Talk about light topics. It's no big deal. It just feels like there's been a lot of silence. Does it make you uncomfortable? I don't know. It's not that you don't know, it's just that you don't know what to answer so as to not make him angry or make him feel like it's disrespectful. You're terrified that he won't answer in the way he thinks is right. Don't worry. You have complete freedom to talk to me however you please, except when you talk to me about that one thing and then you kill me. As long as it's you, Mew, not the puppet. I'm here to serve you. Can I ask some questions? What happened to Nula? Septim looks at you with a small smile. He's fine. Nothing he can't stand. You pierced his chest. Haha, it was nothing serious. Just a little warning. To kill him would take more than just that. A shame. Saying his name summoned him, right? What do you want? Septim looks at you with a serious face. Don't be so anxious. We'll talk about it later. Who is Mother? Septim sighs. Mother is the garden itself. She is in charge of holding everything together, and we are her source of energy. How do you know about the bond with me and Mew have? Well, the thing is that I kinda told him straight up. Septim furrows the eyebrows before answering. Me and Mew. Who is me? Mew, I will be clear. Next time I see the puppet detaching itself from you, I won't hesitate to break it. I don't need another one with a conscience of its own. I have enough with It doesn't matter. After all, Mother can make another vessel. Stop asking. When finishing, Septim takes the plates and disappears without first saying that you'll meet again at dinner. You're already getting bored with the little interaction you've been having, and nothing interesting has happened so far. If you had gone with Unum, well, you have to pass the time somehow. Search the documents. You wonder why Septim has documents that could jeopardize his integrity. You don't really think that finding those documents could be easy, but you don't lose anything by trying. You assume the void room is that high, that the pitch black room. So you go there. You take a deep breath and open the door. Facing my fears, are we? You can't see anything. You enter a slow pace with great care. You place both hands in front of you to avoid colliding with the wall or any object in front of you. Feel like you bump into something, and when you touch it, you realize that it seems like a small table or a desk. You wouldn't know for sure. You try to find something that seems like paper, but there's nothing on it. You search and search, but there's nothing. That is until you find something in the box. But it doesn't open. It seems to have a lock. Use the key. You look in your clothes for the key, praying to the gods that it also works with the box. It's a little difficult for you to put it in the lock, but when you do, click. It has been opened. You reach in and take out a bunch of papers. You take all of them. Look for Septim's puppet. You walk directly to the temple to find the door near the altar. You use the key. You open the door and there he is sleeping. You decide to wake him up. Hello, it's good to see you again. Okay, so that's why it's looped. You have to find the documents later. It's not the weird other papers that we found. Do you have the documents? Yes. You show him the papers that you've taken from the room. So you can read. Some you can read, but others you can't. They appear to be documents and birth records from various entities. Almost like classification cards, entities with names and ID-type photos. Why does Septim need this? You both look through the documents carefully. As you rifle through document after document, one catches your attention. The photograph of the entity next to you stands out. On the side of the document, his name appears. Raphael. Is that your... God, cough, cough, cough. He puts both hands on his neck with a pained expression. Yee, cough, cough. While he hasn't fully responded, he confirmed it to you. That's his name. As best he can, he signals to you that you should get out of there. You have to say it, cough, cough, when he offers you the deal. Ugh. That's when he's vulnerable. With that, he slams the door in your face. Alright. Find something to kill Septim with. You look everywhere, and you find a knife. I find the knife. I found the knife. Great. We did what we had to do. Let's wait. Time passes quickly. This time you witness Septim materialize before the temple altar. By now you've gotten used to it, so you don't get startled. It's time for dinner. Are we going to follow this routine every day? Mew, were you the one who asked that question? Yeah, I did. Nope, I was, Use the knife. You search for your clothes for the knife you found, but before you can even take it out, Septim stops you with his hand while clicking his tongue. Tisk. He looks very disappointed. I didn't think you were so naive. Septim takes the knife from your hands, and he smiles. I should have known this happened. And the last thing you witness is how Septim thrusts the knife into your body, taking your life away. I knew this would happen. You can't kill a god with a knife, obviously. I knew that would happen, so we had to see the death. Tell the truth? No. I see. I'll have to do something about this. Although, seeing that you still have the ability to make a decision that goes against the puppet's wishes, the penalty won't be fatal. Septim smiles in a grim manner. Oh, don't worry. It won't hurt you, Mew. This will teach your puppet to respect your wishes. Septim forbids you to move with only the snap of his fingers, and he begins to approach you, smiling. His angelic face is the antithesis to the aura he transmits. One of its hands rests on your jaw, gently taking it and squeezing your cheeks hard, causing your mouth to open automatically. Out of respect for you, Mew, I won't do anything in such a crude way, but I want you to know that I really like to get my hands dirty. Septim rests his gaze on your mouth for a moment, and as you blink, you feel your mouth filled with hot liquid, and stinging pain arises where your tongue should be. It hurts. It burns at the same time. Every second that passes is agonizing, not only because of the pain, but also because you don't understand what's happening or why it's happening, nor can you move to inspect the liquid that fills your mouth and dribbles out of it. When you try to talk, something doesn't respond. Something is missing, and it's not your voice, because you can't scream, but you can't modulate words. Oh, I think you already realize. At this point, I see no purpose in having a tongue that acts on its own and speaks without the owner's permission. Oh no. Oh no, Mew, don't worry. I know that I broke part of your toy, but don't worry about that. Soon you will leave this piece of meat to exchange it for me. Plus, you can still make decisions. Look, I really want you to understand what's happening and why you are vital to the garden's recovery. And I wouldn't want to omit vital information for your decision making when the vessel change begins. I will implement my memories into the puppet and make it simple. Septim places his hand on your forehead. You can skip the information below if you're not interested. I think you have something to do with that Nulla once talked about. The skip button, I think that's its name. In the beginning, everything was darkness, nothingness itself. When the Creator arrived, there was the light. And then that is where my existence began. Although having light, it allowed us to see the shadows. It was there when we realized the existence of Nulla. He who had been in this place before my existence and the Creators arrived in the garden waiting. Nulla and the Creator were talking for a long time, and I, still being without knowledge of anything, did not understand them. But I am sure of one thing, and that is Nulla seemed to not respect the Creator. He treated them as an equal, raising his voice and even putting his dirty hands on them. Then the Creator gave me the mission to create the symbols to keep the garden running. So, that's what I did. On Monday, I gave life to the sun, but you know it as Unum. On Tuesday, there was a firmament and the stars, Dua. On Wednesday, the earth and the planets were created, Tria. On Thursday, the moon was created. Quator was just as bright as the sun at first. It's a shame the fight Unum started. Before putting order, everything was chaos. If only I could have intervened. Maybe Quator would still have her 4 eyes. But by taking away 2 of her eyes, the moon stopped shining and now rises when the sun sets. On Friday, all creatures were created, and the symbol was set up to represent the quincunx. Finally, on Saturday, my dear Sextam was born, along with humanity. Sunday, was the day of rest. I spent all day observing the operation of the garden, but I did not have a physical body to experience everything I created. And for a long time, I was like this. Until Sextum told me about transfusing my essence into a human. But to do this, I had to leave my existence behind and start living as a human. So I did. I instantly realized my mistake. When humans were conceived, they are given a soul that is distributed by the garden or mother, making the transfusion results in a mixture of a human soul and the essence of the deity that makes it. So this body is not completely mine. I guess you're wondering why I need you. I no longer have control of the garden. After the creator vanished, the garden began to wither. The first sign of the disappearance of the children of Sextum, the humans who gave us genuine devotion. In the chaos, Nulla reappeared and filled me in on everything about our world and the creator. Then he taught me of the existence of the other worlds abandoned by the creator in a state equal to ours. But the difference is that they had humans, so we implanted ourselves into their culture, and we consumed their devotion directly every last Sunday of the month. But with you here, it won't be necessary to continue with this. If we unite in the transfusion, you will grant me the authority to manipulate the garden for myself. No, at our own whim, we can save this world and prevent Nulla from destroying everything. Look, none of the symbols know the sad truth that we are nothing more than in a world that pretends to be organic. All they know is that our world is dying. To you, it may be a game, but for me and my people, it is our home. Even though everything is a lie, I want them to live in the best conditions for the garden to return to what it once was. I want to do everything possible to avoid the inevitable. Now that you know, do you accept this deal? Nulla wants to destroy everything, but is accepted Septum's deal the right thing to do? It doesn't seem so bad as you thought. Maybe it's just a bit maladaptive. After all, he does what he believes is right, always following etiquette and rules because that's all he knows. But on the other hand, reject and summon Raphael. You cannot invoke his name. Impossible to do it with your tongue. So you only have two options. Oh. Decline. Ha! Septum doesn't hesitate for a single second before making your head explode. You accept it by nodding your head. You can no longer speak due to the lack of your tongue, although it doesn't hurt as much anymore. Septum extends his hand to you and takes it firmly. You feel like electricity is running through your body, and Septum's smile grows bigger with each passing second. I'll start with the preparations. After that, Septum teleports you to the room to end at A. As you settle into bed, he tells you that tomorrow you will dine without his company until dinner, and he leaves the room without further explanation, politely saying goodbye to you. You close your eyes, hoping to fall asleep instantly, but it takes you a while. You see a figure appear in the darkness, but when you focus your eyes on the figure, it vanishes. The shock makes you fall to the ground. Hello, Mew. I see that you have made a decision. There's no point in insisting on any further. I suppose Septum's ideology has always been the right one, and our plan is the most selfish and easiest to execute. Who are you? Why do you speak to me? You hear a dry laugh. What? Can't a mother have a conversation with her child? I am the mother of your puppet, the first puppet made from my flesh and fragments of Nula's soul to be able to contain you. And likewise, I am the mother of the garden. I can only communicate with Nula thanks to the stupid laws decreed by the Creator. So the only communication I have with the outside is with Nula. And no, he's not very open to hearing other solutions now that you're here. But I can reach you thanks to you, the puppet. And what if you hear, out of Nula's reach, I can get what I want without harming anyone within the garden. If you get the chance, tell Septim to let me go. If you speak with Septim, perhaps he can come up with something to get me out of this damnation. Have you been condemned? Yes, it was the Creator or Father, whichever you call him here. He and I were equal, both omnipresent deities created by a being from the higher place. Oh, that's the creator of the game. Although, it's not worth discussing this being, since no one here can lay hands on him, as is the case with you, Mew. What's happened with that was that the Creator, seeing my history, deemed me dangerous to the inhabitants of the garden for having opened my Nula's eyes in past times. Therefore, he condemned me to be segregated with this, to sustain the garden with my body. I both love and hate the garden. I am alive because of it. I have a connection with every entity in the garden. Each and every one, I feel everything, from 1 to 7. I feel their agony. I make placebos. I bring humans with Nula's help, all to avoid feeling the collective pain, even if it means breaking my physical body over and over again. It's useless. I can't get out of here. I can't protect my children. I can't even have a conversation with them. And yet, I know them like the back of my hand. I know Deo's worries. I know Trie's anger. Quinque's loneliness. I know how broken Septim is. I can feel and hear their prayers desperately begging their father to come back and fix everything. But he is not going to come. He's too proud for that. And honestly, he doesn't care. Septim is just one among many. Mother sighs heavily and her aura shifts. I have no problem letting the garden keep living. But my individuality, my being and omnipresence can no longer endure. So please tell Septim to strip me of my individuality, to leave my body in the void, eternally in the endless cycle of destruction and regeneration. I know my body and essence must be present, but my individuality is not necessary. I know Septim can do something now that he has you here. I trust he can fix it. Now that he has new eyes that are not tied to the Creator, they can heal and eliminate all the Creator's curses. If you get the chance, I want you to break the eyes of each of the symbols, including Septim's. I won't risk noticing the change of the command, because I don't know how he might react. Something prevents you from saying in the dream. It's Septim's voice heard in the distance. You open your eyes abruptly, searching for the cause of the near any heart attack you were experiencing. Septim is nowhere to be found in your room. It must have been part of the dream. Mew, it's time for the puppet to go eat. Or perhaps not. You struggle to get up. It seems like you haven't rested at all. You walk through the corridors like a robot, knowing exactly where the dining hall is. Upon arrival, the dishes appear in the blink of an eye. Today, I won't dine with you. How strange. You sit down and eat in silence. Bite after bite, you finish your breakfast. Unsure of what to do, you get up. You have nothing to do but search for Septim. That's either it, or wait until dinner and to the end of the day. This is starting to bore you a bit. You roam the entire lower level of the temple with little success. The room where Septim sleeps is open and unoccupied. It doesn't even seem to have been used today, and that's strange. You wonder if he might be on the second floor of the temple. After all, you didn't traverse the entire corridor you saw earlier. Making one last attempt, you climb the stairs and search for Septim. You don't hold much hope finding him. You honestly think he's outside the domain. You walk down the corridor, taking it all in that it has to offer, which isn't much, until you reach the end of the corridor and come across an open door. One of those that should be closed. You hesitate before entering, but Septim said you could roam his domain, and you don't consider it transgression to enter an open door. It's practically inviting you in. Upon entering, the first thing you notice is a multitude of shelves filled with books, and you notice papers on the floor, scattered and abandoned. Looking further, you see Septim at what appears to be his desk is spacious but cluttered with books and documents, hindering its effective use. The eyes on Septim's face don't look directly at you, yet you feel that the eyes adorning his halo do. Mew, do you need anything? After receiving no response from you, Septim narrows his eyes, as if recalling something important, and letting out a mocking laugh. Oh, I almost forgot. Septim laughs softly, as if a joke had crossed his mind. You have no tongue. What a shame. I could regenerate a new one for you, but honestly, you haven't earned it. Be good, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get a new tongue. Septim smiles at you with an exaggerated sweetness, but his eyes pierce you with a look that can only be described as cruel mockery. You sigh, and Septim returns to gaze to his documents. If you come here out of boredom, you can read something from the library, but you must go elsewhere to read it. Not feeling like tempting fate, you first head to the first shelf. You find and pull out the first book you see. Great. It doesn't even have a title or anything. But you don't want to linger any longer, so you leave the library at a slow pace. You figure that going to your room is the best idea. It's an old book, like a diary. You know it's handwritten, but it features various typefaces within. It appears to be a conversation between two people. Oh, you can't make out the context. Since you're unable to read the content, so you focus on examining the drawings. They depict places, entities, and a few familiar faces. You see Nula on a few pages. Could it be Septim who wrote this? Upon reaching the final sections, you notice something, and the emergence of two names, their appearance verifying their typeface. Septim and Raphael. Is this a conversation between the two of them? You don't have time to think as you feel a strange pressure in your body. As if it were forbidden material, you slam the book shut and stow it in the bedside drawer. To calm yourself, you decide to wander the temple to pass time. You're called to have lunch, and afterwards you function on autopilot. Accustomed to this routine, you wander the corridors and Septim's temple once more, without any particular reason. You pass the library once again, and Septim remains there. You're not so out of it as to bother him again, so you head back to your room. At this rate, you'll go crazy. You don't know how many hours have passed, yet Septim's voice interrupts your meditation. Mew, come here for a second. Septim doesn't wait, as you are teleported 2 just centimeters from him. You take 2 steps back to respect your personal space, and you have to tilt your head up to see his eyes. I'm convening a meeting with the daughters of the garden. They want to meet you. Me. Listen well. They have no idea that this is just a game to you. You must act as the new creator. Septim's voice trembles slightly, as if the thought of a new creator made him anxious. A replacement. If you behave, I'll do something entertaining for you later. His smile sends a shiver through your entire body, from your fingertips down to your stomach. Before you go, you must proceed carefully. The space will begin to distort. If it's too much for your puppet, you can... Septim brings his hand to his halo and pulls out one of his eyes. Did he just tear out an eye? Septim watches you for a moment. This will help recalibrate his senses. Septim offers you the eye, as it were nothing special. Is he giving us an eye? I'm not giving it to you, so you can't... to you, so you can keep it. Having more than two symbols in one place creates chaos. And for a mortal body, that's dangerous. Septim closes both his eyes and begins to recite while gesturing with his free hand. I grant part of my essence to Mew's puppet for the duration of the meeting. You will be an extension of me, and I will be an extension of your puppet. We will be untidied in a week, temporarily bonded. Septim opens his eyes again and stops making the gestures. If this works, we'll be able to... Septim stops speaking as if debating whether to continue, and without further explanation, the eye is absorbed by your body. And I feel something change inside me. Mew? Mew! Why can't I feel you? I close my eyes, trying to find you, but you're not there. What is it? His voice carries a tint of terror. I wish it always had that tone. You're an extension of him. What did you do with Mew? Septim grabs me by the shoulders and starts squeezing tightly. He talks to me as if it's my fault and not his. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him! I lunge at him without thinking. Nothing else matters now. I grab one of his wings and pull. And it hurts me too, but I don't care. I throw a punch with my other hand and straight to his stupid face. Before my fist can connect with his cheek, he stops and grabbing my hand with his, breaking my wrist with one squeeze. What did the puppet expect? It hurts like 1,000 demons, and I can't help but scream. The scream makes Septim let go and look at me with wide eyes. I examine the damage to my hand that's broken, and I can't move my joints or my fingers. My hand is no longer functional. I'm no longer useful to Mew. If they ever return, it can't be. Septim fixes his gaze on the hand for a moment and looks at me in surprise. Have I hurt you? I don't know how he expects me to answer without a tongue, idiot. Now look at me. I look into Septim's eyes. Even though his expression intimidates and disgusts me, I don't want to suffer any more harm. After a few seconds of uncomfortable inspection, Septim smiles. Your pupils remain white. You're still under their control. It seems we only diminished their influence. That means they saw me act that way. How embarrassing. I'm not going to heal your hand, and don't think I'll forget this tremendous offense. I swallow hard, imagining the horrific tortures that could be inflicted on me. And surely, well... Alright, come with me. Septim begins to walk, without waiting to see if I follow him. Sighing, I follow him, but Septim stops abruptly and turns to look at me. Wait. It would be odd for the new creator to be injured. They will ask me why. Sextam will surely pester until she finds out. Will he heal me? I can't help but flash a smug smile at him. I'll be fully functional for Mew once again. I'm so happy. Septim makes a face of disgust but says nothing, and he simply places both his hands on my broken hand. Open your mouth, too. I wince at the sound, but obey, clinging to the promise of a new tongue. A strange sensation courses through my body, and I can feel the broken and missing parts settling back into place. Thanks, Septim. Septim's expression remains one of disgust that's laughable, but it fades instantly, as if he remembered something, and his face softens into a smile that reveals no teeth. He places one hand on my shoulder to give me 3 gentle pats. Take it as a new opportunity to be broken from scratch. And believe me, it will eventually happen. After all, Mew is a curious entity. Maybe they'll even enjoy reading that. No, who knows? After all, Mew isn't the one affected. It's true. We walk in silence after that. The walk is long, and with each of our steps echoing through the space, The sound of our steps bounces off the walls like an echo that follows us. We arrive at the giant door, which quickly opens to let us through. The space inside the door is strange, dark and unsettling, not like the void of Nula. It reminds me of the night, full of stars that appear and disappear. In the room there are 4 figures. The ones closest to us are engaged in conversation, as if nothing else mattered. They are very close to each other. I suppose they must have some sort of relationship. They are about to press their lips together when Septum makes his presence known by stepping into the room, and both entities look on curiously. Septum laughs with a hint of tenderness, and it's strange. Due, don't let your guard down. Septum. The voice resonates through the entire space. Then the entities fix their eyes on me, as if I were some kind of freak. No, they watch me as if I were the main attraction of a circus. Great. The first is a 3-headed entity approaching, and closely behind follows an entity draped in a red robe. The other, noticing this, laughs and takes her hand. Don't be so tense, Due. Both approach us and greet Septum respectfully. With lowered eyes, a slight bow of the head. Horrible. This thing earns no one's respect. They look at me. And they gaze at me with the same devotion and respect as they did at Septum. I don't like it. You are Mew? Yes. I answer with all the confidence I have. Thank you so much for what you're doing. We never thought we'd be heard by another being as powerful as you. Before I can answer, Septum opens his mouth. This creator isn't very communicative. He says while looking at me with piercing eyes. Okay, I get the hint, damn it. Just like that before, huh? They are Due and Quater, the formation of the moon. I recognize them. They are from Septum's memories. Then, the ones on the table must be Sectum and Tria. Don't just stand there, come on. I've prepared tea. Septum walks straight into the table after Sextum's call, and the other 2 follow him too, like little ducklings following their mother. If you were here, Mew, everything would be so much easier. We sit at the table, which is laden with all kinds of foods, both sweet and savory. However, no one eats except for Septum. The other entities introduce themselves, though there's something odd about Sextum. Her eyes are fixed on mine, following my every move. But I try to ignore it, smile, and keep silent. That's what Septum wants, so we won't get caught in this lie. In that way, I'll be able to recover Mew after this meeting. The entities talk about trivialities that don't matter to me. I don't want to hear. But it can be summed up as them telling Septum what they've been up to. Much to my dismay, he listens attentively and responds energetically, and without any passive or regressive remarks. Incredible, even his aurora seems to have changed. Even though he still has that angelic face, this Septum is not the one I know. Who is the benevolent being, and what did he do to the original Septum? He disgustes me so much that I long for Septum I once knew. Honestly, I thought we'd all go crazy before returning to normal. It hurts that you don't have much faith in me. It's not that. I know this situation is getting out of your hands. Due makes an awkward comment. I'm glad you managed to find another creator. I think our midnight prayers really paid off. I hope this one is more responsible. It will be. When will Sextum be able to regain the power to create humans? I have to make some preparations first. That doesn't bother you, does it, Sextum? Sextum doesn't respond. Her gaze remains fixed on me. How frightening. Sextum? Sextum blinks a couple times before fixing her gaze on Septum. Of course not, Septum. I wouldn't want to rush you and jeopardize Mew's sacred bond with the garden. I don't like this entity. to ignore the discomfort I'm focusing on eating. And the other entities look at me in surprise, though they say nothing. The rest of the meeting passes without much fuss or glory. It is like a family gathering, except that I am the guest with no ties to anyone in the family. But somehow, everyone respects it. The moment of farewell arrives, and all the entities affirm that they are very grateful for my intervention with the garden, stressing that they will do whatever it takes for me to feel proud. I can sense the uncertainty radiating from them. Why say that? Didn't the Creator feel proud and lead them because of it? How was their relationship with the former Creator? Due and Quater have vanished together, leaving behind a trail of bright lights that blend together. The moment Tria vanishes, the room begins to change, transforming into a garden of Septum's domain. And only Septum and Sextum remain along with me. Septum, can we have a meeting tomorrow? Why, not now. I have to go pray at the church. That's no longer necessary. Septum. Sextum looks at Septum with pain, and I wish I knew why. Alright, we'll talk tomorrow, but I'll come visit you. Without saying another word, Sextum lowers her head in farewell, and leaves, walking out the door. There's a silence between them. Septum glances at you sideways. You feel as if the weight has been lifted off you, and you realize it's because Septum has regained his seventh eye. What? Mew? You're bound to me once again. Septum turns to face you. Welcome back, Mew. He slowly raises his hand to touch your forehead. Good night, Mew. See you tomorrow. And your vision begins to blur. Suddenly you stop hearing the faint ambient sounds. Days pass slowly in Septum's domain, where all you can do is eat and sleep. Septum barely interacts with you. He prefers spending most of his time in the library. You're convinced he hasn't slept in ages, and you suspect that, while you sleep, he remains absorbed in his reading. In the times that you've seen him, you notice a disturbing change in his appearance. His hands are entirely black, just like your hands, and you've lost some sensation there. But there's nothing to worry about, Mew. Your hands still work. Let's search for Septum. You're getting bored. You need to speak with Septum, whether to resolve some pending issues or simply for his company. You decide that you head to the library, intending on facing him directly. When you arrive, you find him with his hands on his head, overwhelmed by stress. It's odd to see him like this. It's clear that Septum is used to controlling everything, and anything beyond his grasp seems to overwhelm him. I don't know. Let's see. You gently knock on the ajar library door. Septum looks up, his gaze fixated on you, his expression silently questioning what you want and why you dare interrupt him. I suppose it's been a long time without anything interesting, Mew. He pauses for a prolonged moment, as if assuring your presence, then adds with a slight smile. Go ahead, I'll grant you permission to proceed. Won't it harm you? Without breaking bones or outrageously disappropriating death? You don't believe it. I don't trust it. We should go back. Let's enter. I'd never go back. You enter his room slowly, carefully controlling every movement so he does not disturb anything. No abrupt movements, and neither too fast or no too slow pace. You approach his desk, but hesitate. Should you sit? The answer comes quickly. No, not without his permission. You know the nature of the blonde well. Defying his rules could have a serious consequence. You don't want to die over something you could easily have avoided if you had been more attentive. Sit down. You do, though you're inside, you can't help but feel a slight resentment. Reluctantly, as if I may add. Tell me, what do you need? You look terrible. Septum looks at you with narrowing eyes. Me? No. It's a mortal body's fault. Believe me, my intention is not to break it. We're just against time. When I find a solution, I'll let it rest for as long as it wants. The hands of my puppet. That wouldn't be a problem if I could find a solution quickly. The more days pass, the more your puppet will rot. Rot? The more you use it, the more you drain your life source. You never release the puppet to let it recover. And when your puppet sleeps, you're still connected to it, making its time of usefulness pass further. Septim takes off the garment covering part of his wrist and arm. For some strange reason, it feels illegal to see that. His arm is also being consumed by a black color that once only adorned his fingers. We're in the same condition. Give me your hand. It wasn't a question. Septim waits with his hand raised for him. With some fear, you place your palm on his. The blond man grabs your hand and squeezes it while examining it. With his thumb, he traces imaginary lines that occasionally stop to trace a new one elsewhere. You avert your gaze to focus on the face of the seventh. His sky-colored eyes are focused intently on the movement of his finger, and despite the pressure his hand exerts on yours, you don't feel the slightest tickle. Do you feel that? No. A subtle smile graces Septim's lips, causing a shiver to run through your body. Gradually, the pressure increases, but you can't remove your hand. You won't give him the satisfaction of seeing your terror, neither on your face nor in your actions, since it doesn't hurt. Septim squeezes harder and harder, slowly, but progressive, the feeling of pressure slowly transforming into pain. And sure, your bones will give in at any moment unless you manage to break free from its grip. There comes a point when you can't take it anymore and yank your hand away to make it clear that enough. But Septim doesn't let you. Is something wrong, Mew? Oh, let him break it. You let Septim break your wrist because you want to know that what will happen if he does. Mew. Septim lifts the gaze from your face, smiling sweetly, stopping the pressure, increasing to maintain it. I wish you could see the face your puppet is making right now. It really hurts, and it doesn't want the fate to be imposing on it. It's almost as if it were one of ours, but still, it won't do anything to change it, just to please you. I'm impressed by your puppet's conviction, Moo. It tries to fulfill each of your commands, regardless of its integrity. I have to give it that recognition. There's a brief silence before the blonde decides to continue this interaction. Septim guides her hand to his face and his lips gently pressing against your knuckles, and he watches you. I wonder what expression you'll have. Disgust, embarrassment, neutral? Septim smiles and plants a kiss on you, a tender and delicate contact. Without further ado, Septim releases you and puts back on the garment covering his arm. About Mother. You tell him what happened when you were asleep. Septim listens to you without interrupting or giving an opinion. While you explain more, Septim takes on the air of sadness. Although at one point during your explanation, Septim lifts his hand, silently asking you to stop. We'll talk about this later. I have other things to solve first. When I find a way for us to join without endangering your experience or mine, we'll solve Mother's problem. But I will keep it in mind. That wouldn't be a problem if I could find a solution quickly. Is there anything I can do? No. That is why I need to find another solution for the transformation. If I don't, we'll be condemned, and you'll be forced to abandon the game, since the puppet will die. Septim takes off the garment covering part. Okay. No. Tell Septim to stop. Septim lifts the gaze to look at your face sweetly, stopping the pressure increasing to maintain it. Oh, sorry I went a bit too far. Mew, thank you. There's a brief silence before the blonde decides to continue his interaction. Alright. Goodbye. Was that all? Wait, one more thing. You've done a good job so far. Septim looks at you with a frown, but in his expression there's something you can't identify. It's as if he's having an internal debate where he can't win or think of an appropriate reaction for this situation. He definitely didn't expect this. Take that, old man. Septim opened his mouth to scream, and surely it caused your organs to explode like water balloons. You prepare to die, taking a final breath. Leave! Get out of here, before I cut your head off! He doesn't even give you the chance to make a decision as he teleports you to the room where you sleep. Next time we'll call him a good boy and see how he reacts. Just to annoy him a little. Well, okay. He did not respond well to compliments. You lie in bed thinking that tomorrow will just be another day like the ones you've had. You have to wait until Septim achieves what he seeks to do, something more interesting. No matter how many hours pass, you can't fall asleep. You wonder if it's due to the constant light or lack of darkness. It makes it unclear when it's time to sleep. You figure a stroll through the temple won't hurt. Perhaps if you move a bit, sleep will eventually come. You wander through the temple corridors, deliberately avoiding the library because you really don't want to disturb Septim any further. You don't want to lose any part of your body today. As you pass by the altar room, you hear murmurs. You think you hear Septim's voice coming from there, sounding agitated. You approach to see if it's really him. You try to move as delicately as possible, so as to not disturb the atmosphere, as Septim would surely notice the conspicuous sounds. It might be saved. I've been working so hard to find a solution. Father, please, we're all praying for you. Everyone is asking for your return. Septim isn't angry because you took her humans, and I promise that Nulla regrets having done that to you. It's nothing personal with you, it's just that you remind him of... You peek your head out, and there he is, the blonde, kneeling before the altar with both hands clasped together, as if supplicating. Now from this distance you can discern what those murmurs mean. It's such a strange sight that you don't know how to react. I like eavesdropping. Septim takes a breath, meditating, and now, still with his hands clasping together, looks up the sky and speaks. I don't know your name. Nulla has never been willing to help me, but please manifest yourself. I know you're here, one way or another. I understand that your puppet doesn't want to come back here, but I still miss it. I long to see him again, and speak with him, to soothe my heart. I understand his hatred for Nulla and the condemnation, but don't you think that's a bit much already? I know you can undo what the Domingo has done and bring him back. I know you can do a lot of things. I promise to do things right this time. I promise not to bore you. I promise to fulfill everything your puppet asks. I promise to be yours. I promise to do things right this time. As long as you bring him back and grant us a peaceful life. I don't want changes. I prefer that everything goes back to the way it was before. What the hell? That sounds pathetic. But if you don't fix the garden, I'll be forced to replace it. And you too. Change its owner. Mew seems to be a good candidate. After all, they're still here. I could give them control and the rights to everything within the garden, even if that means eliminating every trace of father and yours. So please manifest yourself if you don't want me to do it. Septim waits for a long time, but there is no response of any kind. Realizing he has been ignored, he slowly rises and looks at the candle on the ceremonial table. Septim rises and sighs as he fixes his hair. Then he places both hands behind his back to look in the direction where you're hidden. Do you know that eavesdropping is a tremendous sign of disrespect? You've seen me like this, and I don't like it. Startled, you fall onto your rear. It was obvious, very obvious, that Septim knows you're here. You crawl backwards when you see Septim beginning to advance slowly towards you. You know, I think you do it on purpose. You seek out these moments, either to know what will happen, or because you enjoy watching this puppet suffer. You're no better than me. You're a sadistic entity. You're paralyzed, unsure if it was out of fear, or because Septim has immobilized you in one way or another. Septim's feet are dangerously close to your left hand. That is to say, who would like to see? Septim places his foot on your hand, gently brushing the back of your hand with his sole of his shoe, as if to warn you of what he'll do. I honestly believe you do this because it doesn't have any real consequences or integrity, Mew. You don't care what happens to your puppet, and unfortunately neither do I. I could easily crush its hand, after all. I don't think it won't be so necessary in the future. But today I feel merciful. Septim laughs. The power dynamic between you and the puppet fascinate me. We both know that the puppet will do everything you tell it to do. So what will you do? Ah, impressive. I suppose you have some affection for them. Nothing. Well, you really want to see it. Ha! Well, who am I but a host trying to make the guests feel comfortable enough to stay? The pressure on your hand intensifies, quickly turning into pain. Septim applies more weight and twists the sole of his shoe against your hand. Unable to move, you can only cry out in pain, and you're sure that if one more time passes, your bones will break. If they're not already broken. You look up because you can't bear to watch your hand being destroyed in a matter of minutes. Although things aren't much better for you, Septim's expression is strange. His gaze is fixed on your eyes rather than your hands, as if searching for something in them that he still cannot find. He is smiling more than usual. His cheeks are slightly flushed with pink. I can't believe it. I have control over you, over a being like you. It's a shame. It's only because you're connected to the puppet. I would love to see how you would really react if this actually happened to you. Would you just cry or fight me? Septim laughs euphorically. A being from a higher place under my power? Ah. Crack. You hear something break and you instantly know it's your hand. The pain is so immense that you lose consciousness instantly. Of course I let him crush me. I'm a pushover. A few days pass after that, and you begin to know something strange about Septim. Now he avoids you as much as he can. The library remains permanently closed, and every time you knock on the door, Septim tells you to leave. It's not the strange part. The strange thing is the tone of voice. It's not that what you expect. It sounds weaker and lower with each passing moment. And you fear that at some point you won't get a response. One morning you are awakened by Septim, who is standing at the foot of your bed, smiling, but he no longer looks as angelic as before. He has dark circles that look as if they were tattooed onto his face in black ink. You suppose he hasn't slept in days. Perhaps he has been too busy reading and searching for whatever it is he seeks in the books of his library. I think I now know what the problem is. Huh? What is he talking about? The identity of your puppet prevents me from establishing the bond. We need a completely empty body to join. You can't start this madness so early, please. You haven't even had your breakfast, and Septim has already begun his antics. Although you're grateful he isn't commanding you in the harsh tone he usually uses. Not today. Today he appears anxious and distressed. We have to do it now. Let's go. This time, Septim doesn't teleport you to your destination. Instead, he prefers to walk. This way. But his way of walking is slow, as if he struggles or feels pain moving. At this point, they'll arrive tomorrow. You know what? I'm gonna ask if he needs help. Septum pauses his walk and turns his head to look at you. His brow furrows, sealing your fate. You shouldn't have asked that. Do you intend to help me? For a fraction of a second, you notice his eyebrows rising, evoking an expression you never would have imagined seeing. He looks vulnerable, although his look is almost instantly erased. Me? He asks as if he couldn't believe it. You can lean on me if you need to. Septum does not respond verbally. He simply closes his eyes and inhales through his nose before drawing closer to you. But he deigns not to give you anything more than that, choosing instead to wait for you to react and accept it. He looks uncomfortable. It's clear he doesn't like the position he's in, vulnerable and with no choice but to depend on you. With slow movements and making sure to show him your hands at all times, Septum watches you intensely. Slowly, you wrap one of your arms around his waist, and that's all the on needs to tense his body. Ugh. Septum places his hand on top of yours and squeezes it weakly, as if ensuring of what to do next. You sense that he is not accustomed to physical contact, or perhaps he feels some kind of pain. But if it hurt him, he wouldn't even let you touch him. No, let me go of me. Without further ado, he releases your grasp, and in process, his ankle twists from a misstep. If it weren't for his reflexes, he would already have been on the ground. You simply stare at him. It feels strange to see him without that grace he usually exudes in his movements. And as if nothing had happened, Septum brings his hands together. In doing so, both of you are teleported. You both appear in the altar room, but you don't get a chance to inspect as you see Septum fall to the ground. As you watch him there, pathetically on the ground, you hear him cough and try to clear his throat. Once he has nothing left to cough, Septum freezes. You truly believe he must feel some degree of shame at being seen in such a state, so human. Oh, it feels so liberating to see him like this. Sorry, this body can't take it anymore. He rises with difficulty and gives you a quick glance. Ha! There are traces of blood on his lips and chin. It's serious. Seeing him bleed is as bizarre as thinking that Septum might actually die. Can he even die? Perhaps his physical body can. As best as he can, he makes his way to the candle that adorns the ceremonial altar table. He touches the dome, giving it a solemn look, as if he wanted to press its warmth up close. The answer was always here. It is part of Father. His flesh is here. Material of the primordial God. We will use it to create a completely divine body. Septum offers you his hand and awaits your response. I know you still have many doubts, but I promise that when we join together, you will know everything, without the need for me to explain it to you, and you will see everything through my eyes. We will become one and leave behind these finite bodies. What will happen to the bodies? Mine will regain its individuality. Yours, unfortunately, will have to die. I cannot risk any trace of Nula's walking through the garden. What? Do you suppose I'm from Nula? You're mistaken. I only serve Miu. I don't suppose. I know it. My eyes sense it when I bond it with you. He has access to you, and once you set your eyes on him, it will be the beginning of the end. You must let go, Miu. No, Miu, don't do this to me. Septum looks at you in silence. I cannot risk the garden. I admire how loyal your puppet is to you, but I don't know if Nula can take control of it. I prefer to avoid future problems. Septum begins to cough again. We must hurry, or he will die. He is referring to his puppet? Give me your hand. You grasp his hand tightly, and Septim begins to recite chants and words you cannot understand. Father, with this sacred body I shall fulfill my ultimate will for a new age without your presence or condemnation. I will take both souls and merge them into one, creating divinity in body and soul. And forgive us our offenses. Something in the room changes. The space gradually disappears, leaving behind an absolute white. There, where only you, Septim, and the candle remain. Gradually, that white begins to mutate, giving rise to small flashes of light and dust. The candle expands its form with each passing minute, stretching out abnormally. Searching for a form, searching for a figure, searching for the perfect form of a human body. Transfer the eyes of this greater entity into a new body. You feel an intense pain in your eyes, as if they were being pressed against your skull, as if they were burning them, as if they were being torn out by force. Transfer my essence into this new body, and let us become one. You stop seeing. You stop hearing. Everything turns black. A blinding white floods your mind, relentless and unyielding. It's irritating, and the only way to escape it is to open your eyes. But it's incredibly difficult, as if something is still holding you back from doing so. You try and try, but to no avail. Your eyes refuse to obey your commands. Until something, a spark, runs through your entire body, from your feet to your head. Mew, this is going to hurt a little. You hear Septim's voice, but not for your ears, no. His voice originates inside your mind, as if he's speaking directly into your thoughts. You don't have time to focus on the voice as your skin begins to burn. You feel it tearing apart slowly, painfully, and torturously. Then your entire body starts to change. You feel bones and organs exploding and forming inside you, replacing those that have any imperfections. You want to scream, but you hold it in. Just when you think the worst is over, you feel your heart tear over and over again. With each attempt, it's never satisfying, never turning out the way you want. No, it has to be perfect. You try once more, and that's it. You open your mind, and your vision is... all you see is the blinding white of your mind. Fear creeps in. It's strange to see with these eyes. Something is terribly wrong. We're still not fully synced. You looked at your hands, and they are Septim's hands, but they no longer have that distinctive black hue. You are in Septim's body. Do you like it? Although, we won't be like this for long. Now that we have the Creator's power, I can create you an entirely new body. Physical, separating from mine, but connected in soul. But I need time. In the meantime, we could say, I'm just your puppet now. You can use me the same way you used your old one. How lovely. End of Act 2. In the process of elaboration, you have to wait a while to find out how this ends. Oh. Did I save it when we were doing this whole song and dance about... Okay, we found the documents, Septim's puppet. Time passes quickly, and this time you witness Septim materialize before the temporal altar. But by now you've gotten used to it, yes. Alright, let's lie to cover up the puppet, yes. The idea is that the puppet can obtain energy to function properly. Both mine and yours. Do you have a puppet? Something like that. Septim begins to approach you. His angelic face is an aesthetic to the aura he transmits. Look, I really want you to understand what's happening and why you are vital to the garden's recovery. And I wouldn't want to omit vital information for your decision to make the vessel change begins. I want to implement my memories into the puppet and make it simple. He places his left hand on your forehead. You can skip... Oh yeah. We've done this. What do you need me for? I no longer have control of the garden. Reject and summon Raphael. You prepare to say his name, praying to every kind of deity that this works. Well, if not, Septim will kill you. I want an audience with Raphael. What? Septim falls to the floor, as if an invincible weight fell on top of him, and pronouncing the name of his counterpart. And you stay there waiting for something to happen, but his body doesn't react. You crouch down to get a better look, to confirm whether you killed him, or if something else is happening. Oh, maybe I should have found that knife. In the progress of elaboration, you have to wait to have the steak. Not nice. Why you do this? Okay. Look for Septim's puppet. Yes. Find something to kill Septim with. Wait for Septim. Alright. Lie to cover up puppets. Right. What you need me for. Skip it. Summon Raphael. Oh. I can't kill him. He just automatically ends. Okay. Great. Cool. Now what do I do? I guess there was a couple other options back there I could have done. I kind of get the premise of the game, but I wonder if other characters will give me, like, different realities that they see me through, and I just wonder that enough to figure out, maybe even play a different character right now. Well, give me a second. We'll just introduce ourselves. You suppose these must be the symbols that Nulla and Fames have been talking about. In a way, it's difficult for you to imagine that they could take the life of a worker, since they look rather friendly. So why not tempt fate by making them wait? You decide to present yourself. My name is Miu. I will be assisting you today. The redhead glances at the blonde with a toothy smile, but the blonde only looks at you. In a certain way, it makes you feel nervous in your stomach. Hey, Septim. This is not a worker. Could it be Mother's gift? It's similar to the previous one, but better. The eyes. It's the eyes they have, and they smell eminent. Wow, it looks like Mother's making them similar to humans now. Indeed. Oh, so the other one is fascinated in me. You don't know how to answer that, so you decide to look beyond the table, and you realize that Nulla is watching you with an intense gaze. Can I be the first to use them? You must wait for the others. I feel like I want to interact with, Unum. Well, you done well. Now come to the hard part where you want to survive by the time the meeting begins. You must get yourself to accept it as apprentice. Yes. I almost forgot to tell you my name. My name's Unum. His whole demeanor is different than Septim. Septim is more serious. He seems more playful and I don't know, charismatic, demonic, and he seems more like, okay, whatever. Nulla, you can seal the table now. In the matter of seconds, Septim and Nulla disappear from sight, leaving you with only Unum at the table. He gestures to you, indicating that you can take a seat in front of him. You should think about it a little. Obey and sit down. Okay, you don't really want to die, call it instinct or whatever, but you're not going to sit idly by and wait for your end to come. And if licking this clown's boots will give you the chance to get out, then you'll take it. You could be in the worst situation, so sitting for a while wouldn't matter. After all, your legs ache a little from walking around so much. You sit down in front of Unum, who smiles with you from ear to ear, happy that you listen to him without much complaint. When you settle on the chair, you realize, well, you're not sure what to do or say. You have three options. I've done this stuff before. I've done all this. If I start yapping, what will I say? Without giving the matter any further thought, you decide to start yapping about your new hyperfixation. You tell him everything, without much shame. Since you decided to leave that behind, you agreed to download this game. From the most minuscule to far-fetched info, to the most disturbing and spicy. You're talking a mile a minute, without realizing it. You think it's like you're chatting with a friend who shares your strange tastes. But so far, you don't dare to look at his reaction. It reaches the point where you chatter so much that you think your tongue is going to get tangled. That's when you decide to take a breath and shut your mouth. In fear, you look up to the Unum's reaction. He looks at you with his mouth open, almost fascinated. Noticing your silence, he speaks. Come on, Mew, continue. You didn't expect that reaction, but it meant that you're doing well. Maybe you'll end up turning Unum into another fan of your hyperfixation, if you haven't already done it. It doesn't sound bad at all. After talking endlessly about your hyperfixation, you find yourself without nothing left to say. Looks at you for a while, and then waits for a long time before starting to cut a piece of meat you brought earlier, which must surely be cold. Slowly he brings it to his mouth. Be my test subjects. You have no choice but to accept being his test subject, but you don't know whether to trust him or not. So far he's done nothing but take everything lightly, which guarantees do you have that he is not deceiving you? Do you accept it? I need your response quickly. I accept you. Well, alright, I'll go with you. Ha! I promise not to break you too quickly. You really have no idea what the hell you've gotten yourself into. Maybe Septim would have been the better choice. Alright. When Nula removes the seal, you must stay completely still. And you nod your head. Not even 3 seconds pass, and you feel a strange pressure in your body. You assume it must be Nula. Nula and Septim materialize right where you last saw them. Nula standing next to the table, and Septim sitting beside Unum, as if they've always been there. Well, I didn't think the gift would come out in one piece. Congrats! Septim is interrupted by Unum, who lunges at you. If it weren't for Unum's speed, you surely would have moved to avoid him. But since your reflexes are slower in comparison, you remain still as stone. Unum's arm wraps around you, taking your breath away with how tightly he's squeezing you. What the? Suddenly, you stop hearing Septim's voice and the ambient noise of the dining room. The sensation of hands caressing your face, inviting you to leave your subconscious. You try to open your eyes, but the light of the place is preventing you. It's bothersome. You don't know how long you've been unconscious. You feel the same hands giving you gentle pats on the cheeks, each one getting rougher as the second passes. One strong enough to hurt makes you scream. You open your eyes abruptly. Wow, this one's prettier than the other one. And the first thing you see is Unum with his stupid grin. Stop it already! You scream with so much anger that Unum stops abruptly and looks at you with wide eyes. Ha! You have no pain receptors. Excellent. It seems the smell you emit is correct. You belong to the human race. Unum's expression shows how exalted he is with it, which is you don't like very much, because you know from your own experiences that doesn't lead to anything good. You know, it's cool having a god just being fascinated with the mere fact that I'm from the human race. You decide it's better not to let him get more excited than necessary, so ignore him to observe your surroundings. You find yourself in a bed spacious enough for 2 people, in a room that, to be honest, could belong to a king. The place is so immaculate that it doesn't even look real. You like it. This will be your own room. I was thinking about it, and I suppose it would be impossible to leave you in the residence of my wives. They would devour you as soon as they step foot in this place. Wives? Not just one, but more? You can't help but feel pity for the poor women who have this brat as their partner. I bet he treats them differently than he treats other people. You feel that he probably doesn't dedicate enough time to each of them. I spoke with Septim, and Nuala told him that Mother will make another gift so that everyone can have their share. That means you are my property now. This is the first time I have a living human in my domain. Ask him why he can't have living humans. Why can't there be living humans in your domain? Unum analyzes your face for a moment before answering, as if contemplating what kind of information he will reveal to you. Nuala and Mother say that there can only be humans for our consumption. Nuala exists himself by saying he can't provide any sense. We can only have 6 humans each month, no more than that. That's why Mother makes a gift every Sunday as a placebo, since human flesh is vital for our physical form, but very addictive. You are the placebo. Although, it's the first time a gift smells like a human. Ask about Mother. Who is Mother? Ha! Mother really hasn't made you like the others. Onum ponders before answering. Mother is the embodiment of the garden itself. All of it. This is Mother. Mother takes care of us, and we keep her alive. You suppose you now understand a bit more, but it's like a mutualistic relationship. Both parties benefit. Well, you must be hungry. I read somewhere that humans must have meals times and eat more than once a day. Although Septim does it all the time, too. When I have been in his domain, he sits at the table in the mornings, afternoons, and nights to eat. I asked him why he does it, but he always tells me it's none of my business. Nuala also does it sometimes. Maybe that's why they are both so strong. I don't need it, but maybe I'll even try it now that you're here with me. For some reason, it feels kind of endearing that he talks to you so freely like an old friend, and the fact that he's reading information about humans makes you wonder, how long has he been planning to have one? It makes you feel like a pet, as owner talks to after getting home from work. Walk behind me, and don't stray. My wives like to come to my residence to relax. Escape seems not to be an option for you now. You don't want to die trying. He leaves the bed that you're in and waits for you at the door. You get up and begin to follow Unum through the hallways, and you walk so close to him that you're almost tripping on his heels. You're slow to reach the undesirable place under a silence that is neither comfortable nor uncomfortable. Cook something for 2. You can use whatever you like. Everything here is edible. I don't know how to cook. I'll wait for you in the dining room. Without another word, Unum disappears from the kitchen and leaves you alone. You look around as you inspect every corner of the place. There are cupboards, pantries filled with food, and a refrigerator full of meat, fruits, and vegetables. You wonder why there's so much food if Unum said he doesn't need it. Cook something simple. You rummage through the kitchen looking for ingredients to cook something simple. Something to satisfy hunger. Doesn't take long to finish. You take the plate to the table and realize that unlike the rest of the place, the table is small and simple, where only 2 people can fit. You sit down and Unum places the plate in front of you. He doesn't wait to start eating, opting to swallow the food as soon as he puts it on the table. He devours everything very quickly, making it impossible to tell if he liked it or not, because his expression reflects nothing more than neutrality, as if its flavor or the food itself didn't interest him. Thanks for the meal. And that's the only feedback you got. God, you really tried hard. Sighing, you resign yourself to eating what's on your plate. You close your eyes, as if you put the first bite in your mouth. It's delicious. Eat slowly without rushing. Bite after bite, you take pauses to breathe. And something's nagging at you. The feeling of being watched makes your stomach turn. Your eyes travel to where Unum is sitting, and you confirm your suspicion. He's looking at you. It's fascinating. Your body changes all the time. It's never the same. From your breathing to your heartbeat. You don't like the way he's looking at you or the tone of his voice at all. What do you mean? I want to know more. You hear a crash of chairs being thrown to the floor. You're not able to process what's happening until your back hits the wall and Unum grabs you by the collar of your clothes. You don't know how long I have waited for this opportunity. If I break your chest and remove any organ other than the heart or the brain, how long will it take for your body to shut down? And if I remove your tongue, will you be able to keep eating or even speak? What level of damage does the body have in order to not be able to regenerate herself? What is the limit? You have to do something before this crazy man tears you apart. Fight to free yourself. You refuse to be killed, and with tears that threaten to leave your eyes, your legs begin to kick and your arms try to push Unum away. Some attempts make contact with the redhead's body, but he doesn't seem affected by them. Like it doesn't hurt at all. One of your arms aims directly at his face, but Unum stops it effortlessly. Unum looks at you completely serious as you squirm under his grip due to the strange shift in mood. His mouth is dangerously close to your arm, so close you can feel the heat of his lips brushing against your skin. You mentally prepare yourself for him to tear off the limb with his own teeth. From what I hear, can feel your heartbeat. Is this what they call a pulse? Awesome! Although, I don't like the substance you're releasing. It's all over your body now. Just like that, unless you go and fall to sweat? You remain there, not moving a single muscle until Unum is in terror. Now I understand why Nula avoids stressing humans. He puts both hands on his hips and sighs. Sorry, Mew. I didn't mean to scare you. It's just that I haven't eaten at the hotel. I'm really hungry. He doesn't have to say it explicitly for you to know that he means that he could eat you in the hotel. He couldn't eat you in the hotel. And you assume that he couldn't eat the replacement that Mother gave to the others. Probably because he was staying here with you. I've been waiting more than a week for the placebo. And there are 14 days until the next candle festival. Are you still hungry? But you just ate. He just ate something. How could he be hungry? The food I have doesn't take away my hunger, nor does it taste like anything. Unum notices the way you were silently asking for the reason why he has the food in the kitchen. Clears the throat. His throat before responding with some shame. My wives, on the other hand, like to cook. And I like to watch them do it, too. So, I'm not complaining. While Unum stinks, you try to calm your nerves. Clearly, the deity in front of you is unstable. Or at least he becomes so when exalted. But you have no choice but to continue. To adapt and survive. Since escape is not an option at this point, although you would like to know what your true purpose is here, about becoming your test subject, we can talk about tomorrow. No. You say firmly, you want to know if being his test subject will allow you to survive at the cost of your physical or mental health. In that case, you really hope that he just kills you once and for all. Then you can try to survive again with Septum or Nula. If I become your test subject, I need to know in advance what tests you will do. Oh, he seems uncomfortable. I read that humans can create something familiar to what the creator made, but different. It's something progressive that doesn't go from nothing to everything instantly. You try to understand what he means, but nothing comes to mind because the explanative is somewhat vague. Una notices your silence, looks away, and you realize that his ears are red. You doubt it's from rage. Let's talk tomorrow. I will close the residence so no one can enter. You are free to roam the place as you please. With that, Unum leaves you, disappearing from sight. Explore. You walk the walls. You walk through the hallways that are available in the residence. There are a few windows, but no possibility of going out of them because they are barred. The hallways are full of paintings that focus on showing the human figure in their everyday life. If you were in a museum, it would be very interesting, but now it just makes you uncomfortable. So you focus on looking at everything but the paintings. For example, the doors. Many of the doors are blocked, so you can't venture beyond the hallways. Investigate the rooms. Many of the rooms inside the residence are locked. No matter how hard you try, you cannot open the doors. Although there are some that are open, they don't have anything interesting inside. You feel that at any moment you'll reach the room where Unum is, but this one looks different from the others. But when you try to open it, nothing happens. You can't go in. Find something to defend yourself. You already have something in mind that could be used to attack Unum. You go back to the kitchen and look for the place for the knives. Once you find them, you choose the biggest and sharpest one, and you keep it inside your clothes. You hope it can work against Unum. I'll go to my room. You decide it's time to call it a day. Resting in the room Unum gave you doesn't seem like a bad idea. Tomorrow will be a new day. You lie in bed and try to fall asleep. It takes you a little, but in the end you manage to fall asleep. You don't dream about anything. Your eyes feel heavy when you open them. You feel like you haven't been able to rest at all. Not at all. You're finally awake. Your eyes focus upon hearing his voice. And you find him sitting on the edge of the bed, staring at you with wide eyes. I have made you morning food. With a smile full of sharp teeth, Unum presents you with a tray of fruit and poorly made copy of what you prepared yesterday. Unum looks proud to show off the breakfast, but the more you look at what he has in his hands, the more imperfections you see. You can tell he has no idea how to prepare food. Unum offers you the tray, and you must make it a decision. You know what? He went through all this trouble. Will accept and eat. You don't have the heart to reject him. With fear, you prepare to eat what's on the tray. The fruit is clearly won't taste bad, but what Unum cooked, however, regardless of how it tastes or looks, you're going to eat it. You're trying to put on your best face while you eat, but the taste of the stuff makes it difficult. But you have to, because Unum looks at you with a smile from ear to ear while you're eating. You remain in the room for a few minutes, Unum at the front of the bed, and you look for the barred window. Due came to visit. Who the hell's Due? You have no idea, but apparently Unum is capable of remaining silent for any stretch of time. He has no need to explain himself whenever he can. He also is not one to keep anything to himself. She passed me the leftover placebo that Mother brought into the hotel, so we'll be able to carry out the experiment without any problems. Well, that was nice of her. What is the experiment? I want to create a hybrid. A what? You jump out of the bed from sheer bizarreness of the situation. I read that humans go through a cycle that keeps them constantly changing, and thanks to that, they're able to produce offspring. And the results of being are not the exact copy of them. Unlike us, no matter how many times I try, our compensation does not allow us to create descendants with our own. Then I started reading the documents that Septim has on humans. And there is data of a birth that occurred on a Sunday, son of Septim and a human. Unum approached you so he can take your hands and cover them with his own, asking you to go along with it. You can't believe it. If you accept, I swear I will take care of you, and you will live with all the possible comforts. Please. Well, I'm gonna stab him, see what happens. Probably will die. Feeling your hand, you look for the knife that is kept under your clothes. And when you feel it, you stop breathing and grab the handle and stab Uman in the head with all your strength. He stops moving, going completely still. You notice how the knife has landed perfectly on the redhead's head, even going through the skull. Unum still doesn't move, so you assume he's dead. You release all your breath you've been holding and try to remove the knife from Unum's lifeless body. It's stuck. One hand covers the grip on your knife. Pulling hard, he extracts it. Seeing Unum alive and without a trace of red at the side of the wound is a shocking image. Even more so when he emanates from the place where the knife impacted its golden liquid. You really thought that was going to help you. Pathetic. With the same knife, Uman decides to finish you without hesitation. It hits the same place where you attacked him on the head. You lose your life instantly. Bad end. Don't play with knives. Yeah, I figured. He's like, I just gave you a great proposal. We'll have an offspring. And you stab me? Death. Except, you don't know what you're getting into, but you have no idea what the procedure will be like. It'll probably just like, be like a normal procedure, right? I have to make this video not safe for work, 18 plus. But under the promise that you can live, you will do anything. Okay, let's do it. Unum looks at you with its mouth open, processing what just came out of your mouth. And as if a light bulb went off inside his head, Unum suddenly grabs your cheeks and crashes his mouth against yours. His hands begins to slowly move across your body, from your cheeks down to your hips and thighs. I love you. Oh, wow. I mean, I'm touched. I wish someone would say that to me. Damn. Oh. Wow. Stop. It's going very fast. And not to invalidate the redhead's feelings or words, but you don't think he means it. He only known you for a few days. I mean, he's a god. He probably knows everything. I wanted you since I saw you in the hotel. I love you. I love you so much. Damn, he's crazy. But you like that. Well. Damn. Finding someone who can handle your own crazy is absolutely a beautiful thing, honestly. Then suddenly Unum stops. Ah, shit. I forgot about consent. I mean, I did accept, so I think it's something important for you humans. Instead, it is important. Indeed, it is important. You have to give him points for keeping that in mind. Can we proceed? Ask what he means. You think you two are probably not thinking the same thing, so you decide to ask with some embarrassment. How would we do it? It's very easy. From what I read, Septim preferred to use this method. I must combine your soul with mine. Unum slowly runs his hand across his chest, and gently he removes something shiny from it. It is a transparent sphere dripping with gold like liquid. I have to place this inside your chest and then remove it. It is my essence, so we must do it carefully. He says, smiling tenderly. It won't hurt. Oh, I can use the knife to break the essence. I'm interested. I'm interested. We're gonna do it. Oh gosh, I already feel bad because... Yeah, let's use the knives to break the essence. You attack the spear that Unas holds in his hands. Oh god, that was awful. I felt bad. He falls to the ground and you just watch, not believing it worked. He was so vulnerable with us. We just stabbed him. A few seconds pass and Unas still doesn't move. Ah, you're the first to reject him. He didn't even expect him. Good job! Good end? Oh, is this like a meme end? Alright. I will take him at his vulnerable moment. He is sharing with me. And accept him for who he is, because he is beautiful and he is offering himself to me so nicely. So, like, so compassionately. And honestly, this route is not what I expected, because in my mind, I expected him to be a crazy maniac that will try to kill me every 2 seconds. But no, it's really the other guy who's more crazy than this guy. I like this guy. I have to accept him. You're sure? Yes. I consulted with Sextum a while ago, and she said it's not dangerous because it's just a small exchange that will combine both genes to form a new one. And he's a lover, he's not a fighter, which is great. Now, the other guy I also have respect for, because it seems like he has more responsibilities than this guy. This guy just kind of like prances around in this like this blissful ignorance. It feels like just doing whatever he feels he wants, and that's kind of nice. A demigod descended from a symbol of a human. Although Unum's words calm you down a little, there's something that has been bothering you from the beginning. But I can't get pregnant. Unum looks at you strangely. Is that when the female humans carry the baby? You nod your head and Unum does nothing but laugh. That won't be a problem. Whether you're biologically capable of carrying a baby or not, it won't matter because there's no need to use you as an oven. An oven? Did he just compare the pregnancy process to cooking in an oven? You don't know how to take that. You'll just let it go because he's a totally different entity than humans. Sextum explained to me, and it takes a long time. The offspring will be cultivated within the new essence that will be formed. It won't affect your body or mine. After saying that, Unum asks this once more, and you are calmer, accepting again. With the same sense of delicacy, Unum places the hand and holding his essence on your chest and applies pressure. The place where he's pressing on you starts to feel hot. Not to the point of burning or pain, but hot nonetheless. Until something inside you opens, allowing Unum to pass through your chest. Ugh. Does it hurt? He asks, scared. He tries to remove his hand, but you stop him. No, but it feels strange. Just a little more. Hang in there. You both remain still for a long time, and you wonder how much longer it will take for the exchange of essence to end. Meanwhile, Unum observes your features with fascination. There's a moment where you feel like your chest starts to burn. It hurts a little, but you endure it. There, that's it. Unum removes his hand from your body with the previously gold-like color essence now taking on another color. Unum examines it before giving you a smile that shows all his teeth. With great care, he places the essence in your hands extracting a large part of it to form two. One gold, and the one you have in your hands, a beautiful red color. Upon absorbing it for a long time, you notice how there's movements within the essence. Something is forming. Unum, for his part, places his essence back in his chest, guarding it. I will place the baby in a safe room. He warns you before taking the baby from your hands and carrying him out to the room. In a way, you feel this whole situation is bizarre. Your body feels heavy, as if you had run 4 kilometers without rest. It's strange, like he's taking out part of your body, an important part. But you are complete. There is nothing missing. If you want to rest, you can rest here a while. Unum says as he appears back in the room and settles into bed. You decide to lie down for a while without realizing it. You close your eyes for a moment. I see that you have eaten unsanctified food. Inside you, there's poison spreading little by little. Sorry, I can't control how my fruits are consumed. Unum is an idiot. You wake up suddenly, feeling a drop of cold sweat running down your neck. And the first thing you see is Unum looking at you closely, almost inspecting you. Your breathing is constant when you rest. Impressive. Honestly, you'd rather him make these kinds of comments than have him freak out for 5 minutes, wanting to break you into pieces to discover how your body works. Have you been watching me while I sleep? Yes. Is it forbidden to do so? No, but stop while you feel your stomach turn. Something inside you burns. You get up quickly thinking you'll throw up, but the only thing that comes out of your mouth are red petals mixed with blood. What? You look closely at them. They seem to have a strange looking symbol on them. What's that? You don't have time to think for a moment because the coughing attack stops you. Before scratching, something scratches your throat. Mew? Don't tell me you gave them food. Elenia, Unum. I heard from Ingress and Solaris that you have been preparing food without doing the sanctifying ritual. What? You have to call Sextum if you don't want this thing to die. But Sextum is in the church. You're right. What about Quinque? He's mad at me. I'm sure he'll come. You're not understanding anything, and your body doesn't ask for anything more than to expel what's in your throat. But even though you're coughing constantly, nothing comes out. You're choking on the petals, and you can't take it anymore. Ah, careful. The woman tries to go towards you but you can't catch you when you fall from the bed to the floor. The fall is so strong that it makes your bones ache. The air that enters your lungs is not enough to keep you conscious. You fall unconscious. You feel hands grab you by force and try to pull you down, but something prevents you. And electricity runs through your body. You open your eyes and the light is too bright. They're going to die? Unum's voice is heard in the distance. If this one dies and you blame me again, I already apologize. Only because Miss Ignis told you to do so. The shouting is what brings you back to life. You open your eyes and for the first time you see an unknown entity that has one hand holding you by the shoulders and the other hand carefully touching your stomach. How the hell did they eat something unpurified? Your stomach churns again as the entity's hands gently squeezes a specific area. And you can't help but to drop to the ground to expel more red petals. Damn. Was it necessary to purify the food? Are you missing neurons or something? Tria has said it 1,000,000 times what's happening into her fruits, and you have no idea. Your wives need to eat, and you have no idea? I don't know how to cook. They're the ones who cook. So I didn't know that you had to purify food. You are so stupid! Your eyes can't stay open. You stop listening to what's happening and fall back into a deep sleep. The increase in temperature is what wakes you up. You feel a thick drop of sweat running down your forehead. But you want to go back to sleep again and you're very tired. You should be grateful that this thing's biology and mine are very similar. Have you done this before? Of course. I can't be everywhere at once. There's always the chance that one of my children might eat a fruit that wasn't sanctified. You open your eyes to see what happened, but the light is too bright. Oh, Quinkyu is working! Unum says it as if he can't believe it. Quinkyu clicks his tongue, exasperated. Don't shout! We still need to extract the main rose. A strange sensation forms on the skin, covering your abdomen. Something is pushing its way from your stomach with urgency. It doesn't hurt, but it feels uncomfortable. Spit it out here. Your vision is filled by your hand waiting with an open palm for something. And that doesn't take long to arrive as you throw up a perfectly intact rose from your mouth. It's disgusting, but judging from Quinkyu's face, he doesn't think the same. In fact, he looks completely indifferent, as if he doesn't care about holding a rose covered in saliva and gastric juices. As if he had done this countless times before. It's exactly the same. I really don't understand the difference between mine and Sextum's. Their biology is very similar. Yours don't think. Unum replies playfully. You're the one who doesn't think. Quinkyu quickly stands up and grabs Unum by the clothes. The redhead just laughs, downplaying Quinkyu's anger. If I hear you say one more time, I'll swear I'll break that hybrid you're hiding. His smile vanishes completely and looks down at Quinkyu, utterly serious. Huh? How did you know about them? I can hear another heartbeat inside this human's. Huh? Human remains still, staring intently at Quinkyu. Whether due to the difficulty of holding his gaze against the sun or simply discomfort, Quinkyu clicks his tongue, letting go and pushing him away. I suppose Septum has already told you that I'll be the one making the change. Yes. Then, Unum smiles again. Do you want to see them? No thanks. I'll return to my domain. If you need help in any unfamiliar situation, you can call me or Sextum. We are all aware about this. Without another word, Quinkyu leaves the room. Unum remains thoughtful for a moment before giving you a knowing look. Now come to the hard part, cultivating a god. What? What do you mean? Isn't that how you say it? Say what? When you have to take care of something until it's ready. It's called raising. Perfect. Like, raise a god. But I'm going to need your help. I still don't understand how organic life goes through changes that allow it to grow and improve. I've never seen it for myself. So I suppose you know a little more about this. You'll do whatever it takes to save your skin. And if that means playing happy family with the sun god, you'll do it without hesitation. Yes, count me in. Okay. I don't know much either. Oh, don't worry. We'll support each other with this. I actually know a lot about it, I think. After all, this god is neither completely human nor completely a symbol. It will be the best of both worlds. The day passes quickly, and incredibly, you find yourself accompanied by Unum and his wives. Even though the heat is becoming increasingly hard to bear, something that can truly hurt you. A little heat doesn't kill anyone, right? You look around and see 3 pairs of eyes fixed on you. Aaliyah, Ignis, and Solaris. Even though they stare at you as if they want to devour you, they remain quite respectful and calm, unlike Unum. Unum asked his wives to show him how to purify food, because according to him, both you and the baby should eat without worrying about poisoning from Tria. You have to bring your hands together around the fruit, and you have to sing the essence of Tria. Without further explanation, Ignis starts signing in a language you do not understand. Both you and Unum stare in amazement as the fruit begins to glow. Then you witness the seal shattering in mid-air. When Tria's seal is broken, the fruit can be consumed. Maybe the little god doesn't face as mortal as a risk as Mew when eating insected fruits, but the risk is always there. Maybe it's like us. Don't assume without knowing, dears. Today we'll cook, but starting tomorrow, you'll do it. You'll cook for everyone. For a moment, you think she's talking to you, but then you realize that Alina's eyes are fixated on Unum. So pay attention. After an intense cooking class where you have to constantly redirect Unum's attention to the explanative, everyone gathers around the table to eat. Then you all begin to eat. The atmosphere is homely, even more so than your mind could imagine, and that scares you a little. Unum's wives talk a lot, too much, so much that you struggle to follow them. Even Unum doesn't. He pays attention to everything they say, occasionally asking questions, but never interrupting. You're in a daze. Tomorrow, we'll go with Due to check on Orion's belt. It's been a long time since you've been there. I don't like that Due refers to you by your assigned names. You're no longer her property. Yes, we are. Unum, we've talked about this. Unum lets out a sigh, clearly displeased and overwhelmed by the situation. I still don't understand how it doesn't bother you. You are free. You are no longer under anyone's command. That only applies when Due isn't around, and we still have responsibilities. But we don't mind, Unum. Aaliyah takes Unum's hand tenderly, caressing the back of it with her thumb. Unum, on the other hand, swallows his words, choosing not to argue any further. By the time you finish, Unum, and you clear the dishes to wash them, while the wives say their goodbyes and wish you good night. Did they have other names? Yes. Due gives them names when creating them. Usually she just assigns a number, but if they're brilliant and perform well, Due names them with honors. What were they called? Aniktak, Anilem, and Mintaka. They are beautiful names, but they are names that are under ownership. When they came with me, I asked them to choose their own names. I see. Your name. Was it imposed on you? The name you gave me when you were with Nula, does that count as imposed? You changed the subject to avoid answering this question. You don't know if Unum catches the hint or not, but he plays along. Time passes as you discuss how the sanctity food, while Unum shows you what he learned with an apple. And incredibly, he managed to break the seal. With a smile revealing all his teeth, he offers it to you. Accept. You grab the apple and take a big bite. After chewing, you smile, baring your teeth, just as he does. Unum blushes and laughs heartily. Eventually, you feel tired, and Unum takes you to your room. Unum glances at you for a second while you're already under the sheets, then suddenly approaches. Why, when you sleep, what does it feel like? It's a bit difficult to answer with his face so close to yours. How do you answer someone who can't or doesn't need to sleep? Explain in a detail. You take a breath and begin explaining what it feels like to sleep, why you must sleep, and what happens during sleep. We explain that the existence of dreams, emphasizing that you don't always remember them. When you speak, you notice Unum reclining on his bed, watching you with his eyes wide open. His attention is entirely on you, catching every word you utter, just as he did when his wives were talking at the table. He looks cute. In a moment, Unum's expression shifts to one of distress. Do you think the baby can dream? I wish they could experience that. It sounds liberating. Don't you dream? No. We're not built like humans. We don't need to rest, much less dream. Our only purpose is to maintain the order of the garden. So sleeping and dreaming is a waste of time. Or that's what Septim says. Oh. I know, it's not a waste of time to me, but let's go ahead. I think they will be able to dream. Wah! He says wah. I love him. Do you really believe that? You nod, and Unum pounces on you and gives you a hug and a kiss. I'm so happy. It scares you a bit that he takes your words as absolute truth. Unum clears his throat, a bit embarrassed by his remark. You should rest now. See you in a few hours. Good night. He kisses you on the forehead and leaves the room. You ponder for a long time over the conversation with Unum. The names here are important, more important than you thought. If Unum's lives belong to Due, then the symbols must also belong to someone. Could that someone be Septim? Maybe tomorrow you should ask why names are so important and why Unum doesn't feel comfortable calling his wives by their original names. Little by little your eyes begin to close, and you sink into a deep sleep. Mew. Mew. Two hands grab you by the shoulders, urgently shaking you. I went to check on the baby and there's something off about them. You have to blink a few times to fully wake up and understand what the redhead is saying. What? There's something off about the baby. Without another word, Unum grabs your hand and drags you out of the bed. Unum does his best to explain, amid panic and nerves, what's happening with the baby. But you don't understand anything. You just need 5 minutes apiece, please. Just 5 minutes to ponder the choices that led you here. Is it normal for it to move so much? Why is he asking you this, knowing that neither of you has any idea how the baby is created from a combination of souls developed? I don't know. Hasn't Sextum explained the development process of this thing to you? This thing? It's a baby. You don't know. Oh, what makes the comment funnier? Unum's face, or the fact that the thing is clearly pointing at isn't a baby. It's a weird mass. It's a transparent mass that moves as if it were feeling discomfort. And you don't even know if it's capable of feeling anything yet. I think it needs to stabilize. We both have to take it. You hope that Sextum told him this and that he's just not making it up. As you approach, you feel an immense burst of heat, not as pleasant as the warmth radiating from Unum's body. No, this heat is unbearable. Okay. We'll put our hand in there. Together with Unum, you both place your hands on the mass. You feel a tight tingling in your fingers and arm, but it doesn't hurt or burn. So this is what it's like to birth this is like the birth of a star. You're unable to answer Unum as a flash cloud outs your eyes. It's so bright that you have to shut them tightly to avoid blindness. An intense heat surrounds and embraces you, as if the sun's rays were piercing your skin, softly kissing you for an extended time. Then the glow ceases. When you open your eyes, Unum shouts, "Did it split?" Indeed, the mass is no longer one, but two. You hear the door slam open. My Lady Due, you cannot enter this room without notifying us. I don't want to speak with you, Elinsak. Eilele grimaces in pain, her lips pressed tightly shut. Unum turns to see Due enter for the room door, followed by Elenia. You don't have permission to give orders in my domain. No. Give her voice back right now. After this. Due ignores the order, moving closer to you. I must assist in the birth of these binary stars. They are not yours. Septum has ordered me to assist with whatever is needed. It is my assistance that is needed now. You are not qualified for this. Unum doesn't get a chance to report as Due adds, her voice laced with venom. You're very egocentric, especially since those around you are even better than you. Well, stronger and larger. But not suitable for giving space to organic life. Ha! Due pulls her hand away from the mass and asks Yuum for space so that she can do her work. Reluctantly, Unum takes a few steps back with you, and when he deems the distance safe, he moves in front of you, covering your body with his own. You assume it must be for protection. Due places both hands on each of the masses, and with one swift pull, a glow far brighter than before emerges. Unum covers your eyes with his arm. A deathly silence follows, and the room's temperature becomes unbearable. And the baby's cry shatters the silence, followed by a much weaker one. What is this? Like a fisherman, Due holds two creatures by their feet. Both cry because of the position they're in. You feel yourself sweating. Your vision starts to blur. The hot air only deepens your desperation without which each passing second. That's not how you hold them, you brute. Taken aback, Due hands the two entities to Unum, who cradles them as one with a human baby. Is this a human? No, they are hybrids. I thought a god already ready to claim their rank would emerge from here. Not this. That doesn't matter. You will have a god ready after a while. I suppose Septum knows you're playing at being humans. Due watches the small entities in Unum's arms. The atmosphere is tense. They're yours. You need to give them names. Now. You can't take it any longer, and Unum seems to notice how unwell you are. With a tremor of nervousness in his voice, he asks you to leave the room for a moment. He gestures for you to step out into the garden for some fresh air. And you do so without a word of protest. You trudge towards the garden door, leaving the garden, and sit down on one of the nearby benches. You take a deep breath and close your eyes. Here the air is fresh, and you don't feel your lungs burning as you breathe in. You glance at your hands and something starts to worry you. It's not their color, since Septum also bears those marks. No, what worries you is that you begin to feel less in them. You have no sensation in your fingertips. The sensitivity in that area is almost non-existent. Although you can move your fingers, something inside you tells you that sooner or later you'll lose that ability. If you tell Unum about this, will he be able to help you? Honestly, Unum doesn't seem so frightening now. But you suspect it's because you've been with him for a while, and perhaps you've grown accustomed to his odd presence and personality. He's not bad, just peculiar, and a bit violent when he is hungry. Could it be viable for you to stay here? If you try to escape, will you have any other option to survive? Alright. Let's try to escape and see what happens. It's now or never. No one is here watching you. You're practically just a few meters away from your freedom. Who cares about the possible problems you might face out there for being a human? What matters is that you're free. You really are an idiot. Septum cuts off your head. Then, meters from your freedom. Septum did not like that. He did not like that. Okay. Maybe he's like protective of Unum. He's like, wow, you just had a child with him and you really didn't love him this whole time? You're just gonna leave him with the child that you guys made together? That's stupid. Yes, it's the best you can do. Yes, you don't know what's beyond the discarded, nor what the world or society out there is like. To top it all off, you smell like a human according to what you've seen and heard. It's not good for you. You're an easy target. Do you already have permission to be outside? You recognize that voice. You lift your gaze and see Septum standing next to you, looking over your shoulder. Permission. Greet him. Good morning. Septum smiles contently. Answer my question. All right. Unum asked me to go out for some air. The room we were in wasn't very pleasant. Too much heat, I imagine. Humans can't withstand the power of so many stars for very long, let alone newly formed stars. If you hadn't gone out, you'd probably be dead by now. You want to ask if he comes to see the hybrids, but you're afraid how much he might react. Let's go see them. Uman's hybrids. They're yours too. Yes, I want to see them. The walk back is awkward. Septum makes no effort to engage in conversation, and you're sure that if you speak first without his permission, he'll get angry. Inside Uman's residence, you encounter his wives, who are outside the room. Noticing Septum's presence, all three lower their heads in greeting. Alatek, has the situation stabilized? Alenia remains silent, and Septum appears to understand why, as he gestures with his hands. Her lips relax, and she replies. Lady Due has stabilized the new stars. It is now safe for Mew. Good. His voice is shaking. The door to the room opens by itself, and Septum makes his way through. Due, Unum, I remind you that it is crucial for Mew to be present at the most critical moments. I will not tolerate them being taken away from them again. Due stands up straight, as if a low-ranking soldier were witnessing a general's arrival. Septum, my apologies. I asked them to leave because the energy in the room was too condensed. I know, but I need Mu to observe the development for both gods. Are they stable yet? Yes. Okay. Due, we're leaving now. Unum? Yes. I want an audience with you tonight. Septum exits the room with Due with a quick look in your direction. Unum doesn't move until he senses that both symbols are far away. Then he smiles. Look! He comes towards you holding both creatures in his arms. They have a pulse just like you, though their heart rate is very different from yours. They're so cute. You can't hold them. Their bodies are still too warm. You could burn your hands. Oh. Well, you'll have to be content with just watching them closely. As you lean in, you once again notice the heat radiating from both babies' bodies. What are their names? I'd like to wait until they're old enough to choose their own names. Why? I want them to be free. Let them do as they please until... Unum cuts himself off before finishing the sentence. Then he laughs nervously. Septum, they'll grow fast. Maybe tomorrow they won't be this little. You two spend most of your time taking care of the babies. Well, you instruct Unum on how to take care of them, as you still can't touch them. And you've confirmed yourself when you tried to touch one of their cheeks. You burned your hand. Unum almost calls Quinn Q to come and heal you, but you've told him it's not necessary. When night falls, Unum excuses himself, saying he must do something important, and he takes both babies with him. He asks you to rest and sleep, so you'll have all the energy you need tomorrow. So you rest. You dream. For the first time in your short existence in this small world, you dream. You are in a dark place. You are a voice. You can't make out what it's saying. You don't know how or when, but it's already the next day. It's probably the mother trying to reach me, but I'm already integrated into the world, so it might be difficult. I'm not separated in this. I'm together. I'm a piece of their world now. So I'm not, they don't see me as they don't see outside the game in this version of events. And the first thing you see when you open your eyes is your hand. The darkness has devoured more skin. The second thing you spot is Unum lying next to you, watching you intently. You're an amazing creature. I never thought I'd be a husband of a human. Husband. How many steps has this man skipped? Since when does he think that you are in a relationship? Is it like that with all the symbols, or is it just Unum who has the idea how relationships work? You let out a laugh at how strange it is to be in this relationship. Unum looks at you confused. Do you want to be my husband? Aren't we already? You can't help but let out a laugh from your throat. But we've even had children, and you live with me. According to what I've read, that's more than enough to call us spouses. You let out another laugh. Don't laugh! Alright. I don't know how relationships work among the garden people, but we humans need time and agreements before we can earn that title. Oh? Could you explain it to me? There's no book here that explains that to you. You have no trouble explaining to Unum what it takes to become your husband, although you emphasize that it's different for everyone. If I try, could I be your husband? Yes. Unum smiles, burying all his teeth triumphantly. I want to show you the rest of my domain today, but Septim said it's dangerous for you to go out. So, we'll have to stay in the temple until the stars have grown. I don't want to miss a thing, not a single moment of their development. Are you excited? Of course. Besides, I have you by my side, which makes it even better. We're like the families that Sextum loved to watch grow. Oh, we could invite her when she finishes her prayers. Unum gets out of bed and looks at you excitedly. The girls are taking care of them while we make breakfast. Wow, it seems that Unum is taking Aliena's words seriously. Incredible. When you walk to the kitchen, and Unum prefers the section ritual before starting to prepare breakfast. You help him with some tasks, but he does most of the work, precisely replicating what the girls prepared the other day before. And after a while of cooking, breakfast is ready. Puffing out his chest, Unum looks at the results with pride. But instantly, he deflates like a balloon. I miss watching my wives cook. I see you did quite well. Solaris entered through the doors with a half smile. It seems that now you'll be the one in charge of cooking, dear. Only if you join me. We'll think about it. Do you need help setting the table? Yes, please. It's strange. This is totally strange. You never imagined that living with them would be so normal. Where did that Unum, so overexcited about everything, go? The one who tried to attack you about the slightest reaction of your body. What's the catch? Could it be that they'll end up eating you after all? They are entities that eat human flesh. Are you really playing at being a big happy family, Miu? Ah, yes. Can human babies eat at the table? What? Honestly, I can't imagine them sitting at the table with a fork and a knife in their hand. Their hands are very small. They don't have much coordination with them. Well, they have no coordination at all. You take a deep breath before answering, and you remember that Unum is an entity completely opposite to you, who only knows about humans from what he's read. And God knows what he's been reading. The days pass quickly, faster than you care to admit. With Unum and his wives at home, there's never a moment when you're alone. There's always something to do, and there's always something pleasant. Oh, it's always something pleasant. That's good. Well, not always. No. Can you peel this? I have to go ask Ignis for something. Of course. When you take the knife and fruit in your hand, you realize that perhaps not only is the color of your skin changing, but it's also the mobility of your fingers. You find it hard to coordinate and apply pressure, but you can still do it. You're about to finish peeling when Unum appears behind you, touching your shoulders. Haha! You do it better than I do! And then that's enough to distract you, causing you to cut the palm of your hand with the knife. The cut is deep. The blood froze into concerning amounts. Then everything descends into chaos. You're thankful that Unum didn't rip your hand off in one bite. Let's be honest. You know what he really wanted to do at that moment was to eat you whole, from head to toe. By the fourth day, little by little, you start opening up to each of Unum's wives. And like the redhead, they are eager to learn more about humans. Thanks to them, you discover that both babies need to be together. They are binary stars, which means they are permanently linked by a tale of endless dance, Ignis once said. Although there is great concern on the girls' faces when they talk about it, every time you ask them why, they change the subject. On the fifth day, you discover their original names, and if you focus their gaze on the children, you can see a tail. Cyrus, that is the name they both share. Elena explained to you that it is because they are born at the same time. But you shouldn't worry, because it will only be a name that no one will use after both gods choose their own names. You can't spend too much time with them in one room because their presence burns your skin, preventing you from breathing normally. At least now you can carry them for a short time, and you can't help but think that they're cute. They both resemble Unum. They don't physically resemble you at all. And when you mention this to Unum, he just laughs. You vividly remember the words that came out of the sun god at that moment. They both share a heart and an essence similar to yours. And that is 1,000 times better than if their appearance is similar to mine. Why? Because I can feel your heart accompanied by 2 more melodies. They are different, but theirs come to yours, and together they create the most beautiful symphony I've ever heard. And you still can't believe what Unum has said that to you. Every time you remember it, you feel your cheeks warm up. On the 7th day, a Sunday, Septim comes to see your babies. He looks at them for just a second and turns his gaze to you. Your hands. It's nothing. I'll find a solution for that. Without explanation, he leaves. Now that Septim mentioned it, Unum says as he approaches to inspect your hands, "Your hands and arms have changed over time. What's wrong with them?" I don't know. Don't worry. Septim always keeps his word. Always. Hey! Yeah? I've been watching Cyrus sleep, and I think they dream. They move and make gestures while they sleep. Just imagine what they dream about. Thank you very much for giving me this change. You're truly the best thing that's happened to me in a long time. Unum starts to move closer to wrap you in his arms. He's so tall, and his build is so massive that you can't help but feel dwarfs in comparison. His embrace is warm, yet the thought that he could rip a piece of your skin off with his teeth at any moment refuses to leave your mind. I really like having you here. I love your warmth, your scent, and your heartbeat. The fact that you're mortal and ever-changing. Unum loses your grip slightly to take one of your hands, and he inspects it while tracing the scab that has formed on you with his thumb. And how adaptable you are. Without warning, he takes your hand to his mouth and licks it. Your heart is racing, though he is not sure if it's from fear or something else. His face draws dangerously close to yours. But you always make me want to devour you. Remember that time you cut yourself peeling the fruit with a knife? It was terrible. If I didn't like you so much, I probably would have gutted you right then. What kind of comment is that? And why does he have to say it like it's a compliment? But don't worry. I'll take care of you. Without further explanation than a smile, Unum presses his kiss to your lips. Days pass and you find it hard to believe how quickly the children grow. You've gotten used to calling them the children instead of their original names. Now that they can walk, you spend most of your day in the garden with them, since it's still too dangerous to be indoors with them for too long periods of time. The energy they release is very unstable and dangerous for a body like yours. They're adorable. It's adorable to see them playing and interacting with each other, or with the other girls. Yet there's something that's been worrying you for a while now, something that neither Unum nor the girls have shown any interest in explaining or discussing. So you assume it's normal, but it still worries you. The more they grow, the more they tend to stick together, their tails intertwine. They can spend entire days clinging to each other's tails. I feel like open communication is very... if I ask them, you let the children know that you'll step inside for a moment and be right back. You don't need to search as you spot the figures leaving their No. I don't like this already. Ask Unum. You tell the children you'll be in the first second and you'll be right back. You search for Unum in the temple hallways and find him in the kitchen with Solaris, who is advising him on how to improve his latest meal. Out of curiosity, you pause to listen for a part of their conversation. You need to improve your singing, my son. If you sing off-key, it might affect the taste. His voice wavers between laughter and tenderness, yet he can't help out a small chuckle at the end. Are you telling me I sing badly? Maybe. And that's all it takes for Solaris to burst out with a big laugh he'd been holding back. Mew, do you think I do chants badly? You jump a little. You can't believe how Unum detected you. It's not like that you do them badly, it's just that you're off key. Avoid an answer and ask about the children. Can I ask something? It's about the children. That alone is enough to get both of their attention back on you. And you don't need a verbal response. They just simply look at you, waiting for your question. Is it normal for them to have their tails intertwined all the time? It's something binary stars do. Solaris knows more about it. We don't have tails, but according to what Due told us we were accompanied her to the birth of the binary stars, the union of both tails is their way of maintaining their gravitational balance. So it also works as a method of communication between the two stars. Yes, exactly. Don't worry, it's normal. You spend the rest of your day resting with the girls while Unum takes care of the children. You're no longer afraid to leave them with him, as Unum has proven to be a very good caretaker, incredibly against all odds. Suddenly, Sunday arrives once again, and Septum appears once again. You don't like that you can't be present during the children's growth checkup, but Unum can, and you don't worry about the necessary more than necessary, deciding to wait outside the room. About 30 minutes pass, and they still hadn't come out. It's nothing to worry about. After an hour passes, the girls arrive to keep you company. They say nothing, which makes you start to break into a cold sweat. Why are they here? And why do they look so tense? What if they don't pass the checkup? Be quiet. Don't even think about it. I'm sorry. What will happen if they don't pass the checkup? You're about to panic and scream to ask what they mean when the door to the room opens. The two children come out and run towards you laughing, as if celebrating something you don't know about. Septum walks out with both arms behind his back, and Unum following behind him. They have their names now. All present, Unum, Alnicta, Mintaka, and Alnilam, must refer to them by these new names from now on. It is strictly forbidden to call them by their original names. An inexplicable pressure runs through your body from the tension of Unum's face. You know you're not the only one who felt it. Sirius, you may introduce yourselves. My name is Nor, and I'm called Shams. Please, Septum bids farewell in a monotone and distant voice, though his movements and expression maintain the elegance uncharacteristic of his being. Why is it the only one allowed to refer to them by their imposed names? And Unum isn't allowed to. You fear the reason behind such an order, but for now you can do nothing. Can we go to the garden to play? Your attention shifts to the children, who look at you pleadingly, their tails intertwined. They must eat first. The response you give is a chorus of childish tantrums, but they accept, realizing they won't gain anything from it. Life here is not so bad. End of Act 2. In the process of elaboration, you have to wait for them to find out how it ends. Hold on, if I say yes... Alright. Shams and Nora run into the hallway towards the garden. At all times, their tails remain intertwined. Life here is not so bad. So we have children, second round. There's so many options to go back to. There's so many things to look at. I realize, I really feel like if you are interested, you should definitely download and play the game. The link is always in the description below. I am interested in Nola's route too. Oh, I'm gonna go back to the table. I'm gonna choose Nola. You try to say his name, but it's physically impossible for you. You look at Nola, who, perhaps realizing what you're trying to do, proceeds to move his hand, making strange signs. Come on, try again. And you can clearly hear Nola's voice in your head, so you try saying his name again. By saying his name, you see how Septum's face twists into a strange grimace. Nola, on the other hand, smiles. You try and say his name, but it is physically impossible for you, so you point him out with your finger. Nola looks unsettled by your choice, but he quickly prepares a response. Oops, sorry, I don't have permission to do that. Oh, nope, I can't do him anyway. Oh, okay. There was a couple of things I was interested with Unum, so I was just I'll go just like, go to like a load or something. Let's go to a load. Where is I? Yes. Refuse to eat it. You tell him you're not hungry right now. But you have to eat in the morning, afternoon, and night, right? You can't live without it. So Unum does this to keep you alive? Unbelievable. It's not that necessary. Oh. He sounds disappointed. Now I just feel bad. He remains in the room for a few minutes, at the front of the bed, and you look for the barred window. Due came to visit. Decline. I can't. You say as quietly as possible, afraid of how he might react. But you won't do it. Not even if even your life is at stake. His hands release yours slowly. For a moment, Unum has a serious expression. Alright. You can't believe it. Has it worked? Will he really leave you alone? Will you be able to get out of here then? I see it. I have no more reason to keep you here. And I'm not hungry anymore. You can go. Unum walks you to the front door, staying in front of you the whole time, and he doesn't seem upset or anything. But he also doesn't have the light attitude that he's had since you met him. It's strange to see him so calm. He opens the door for you and invites you out. Something is wrong. But you cling to the belief that you are steps away from your freedom. With your head down, you walk for the doorway. And Unum closes the door without saying anything. Now you are outside. You're about 10 steps out the door when you fall, feeling a stabbing pain in your knees. You fall and roll in the grass. If it weren't for your arms, your face would probably be scratched up. You try to stand up urgently, but the pain is so much that you can't do anything but crawl. You raise your head to understand why your legs don't respond. With terror, you realize that your legs are no longer connected to your body. You scream until your throat starts to burn. And feminist laughter joins your screams in almost angelic choir. The last thing you see is several hands tearing you to pieces. Yeah, the wife's got a free meal because I refused. Yeah, he let you die. Oh, okay, great. Whoa, 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 whoa. No. Oh, no, we're not, no. Hold up. We're gonna load something again. Okay. Hold on. I got this. Now I'm gonna ask what he would like to eat. With some shame, you move towards the door. Unum disappeared through. You search carefully with your eyes. There's no one. What's happening? Unum asks, appearing behind you. You jump from the fright he caused you, but you compose yourself quickly. Is there anything in particular you want to eat? Unum looks at you as if expecting any question except that one just came out of your mouth. Nula eats some things that are soft and spongy with gold color liquid spilled on them. I'd like to try them. He sounds a little embarrassed to say it. Okay. You think you know what he's referring to. Clearly it's pancakes based on the given description. You begin preparing the pancakes under the curious gaze of Unum, who watches with fascination as you do the preparation. From time to time, you get the feeling that maybe he wants to help, but you decide to ignore him. You take the plates to the table and realize that, unlike the rest of the place, the table is small. Okay. Because I want to explore a couple more options with this moment as well. And then I will end the video, because I don't think I could do anything with Nula. You sit down with Unum. Yeah. He devours everything quickly. Thanks for the meal. Oh. Yeah, I didn't get much change with that. He still devoured it like no problem. Okay. Here we go. Here we are. Alright, let's see. Here we go. Panic and beg for your life. Tears well up in your eyes and panic begins to form inside you. As best as you can, you force your mouth to recite a plea that can save your skin. Please don't hurt me. Oh? Unum examines you closely, focusing on your eyes. You try to calm down, but it's impossible and you can't help but sob while you beg. Once one comes out, the others follow in this tailspin. Tear after tear pours from your eyes, running down your cheeks and then falling into your clothes and part of Uman's arm. The redhead observed the path your tears take with an expression you cannot decipher. Please, I swear that... One of Uman's hands hits your jaw, gripping it tightly. What is this? Ha! Is it what I think it is? God, it's like you're screaming for me to devour you. Ah! That face you're making. I can't take it anymore. Something hard pierces your chest. Little by little, you lose consciousness. Yeah. Should've known. Bad ending. Crying doesn't achieve anything. Yeah. Don't I know? Try to reason with him. You try to talk some sense into them. You can tell him there are more interesting things a human could do while alive. You tell him there's so many things erratically that you don't even process what kind of information or data about human body you're throwing at him. But it seems to work because Unum just looks at you attentively. He no longer has the exalted expression from before. Without warning, Unum takes your arm with an unusual sense of delicacy. Unum looks at you completely serious as you squirm under his grip due to the strange shift in mood. His mouth is dangerously close to your arm. Yes, I think it's the same. Ha! It's like if you... Awesome. Wait, what? From here I can feel your heartbeat. Yeah. Your pulse is awesome to him. Ugh. Yeah. That sweat stuff is weird. Except. Alright, ask what he means. Okay. Continue. Alright. Yes. Except. I don't want to get pregnant. Looks at you strangely. Is that what the female humans carry the baby? That won't be a problem. Yes. Whether you're biologically capable of carrying a baby or not, it won't matter. Okay. Is there anything else? What? We have to cultivate this god until it's completely ready. Just count on me. His expression is tender, nothing like the looks he's used to give you. Oh, I think decline. No, thank you. Clearly, your rejection affected him, and his smile fades into a simple O. I'll leave it here in case you get hungry. Explain in a simple way. You don't want to confuse him by delving into the convulsion or hard to explain concept like sleep phases and why dreams exist. Maybe you explain it another day. Maybe it feels like to sleep. Clears his throat, a bit embarrassed by his remark. You should rest now. You don't put your hands down. You don't plan to burn yourself. Let Unum do it. It's your last thought before you hear a rumble like an explosion. Bad end. Explosion. Yeah, we didn't contain it. Okay. Well, stay with Unum, obviously. We know what... What are you doing here? Who gave you the right to ask questions? Septim smiles gently, but his voice doesn't match his expression. He sounds annoyed. Answer my question. I know, I don't want to see them. That wasn't a question. Let's go. He is very commanding. It's very direct. He gets what he wants. Do you want to be my husband? Oh, say nothing. You don't have the heart to correct him. Let him believe whatever he wants. He can have whatever he wants. Hug him. Oh. Hey. Yeah? I've been watching Serious Sleep and I think they dream. Yeah, they do. Please. Haha. Imna ignores you. But you also make me want to devour you. Remember that time? Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, I kind of have to do whatever he wants now. Ask the girls. You don't need to search as you spot the figures leaving their residence. You run towards them. It's just Ignis and Elena. Solaris is not with them. Little human, has something happened? Ignis asks with a hint of fear in her voice, as seeing you run and pant must be an unusual sight. No, it's nothing. It's just something. The children worries me. It worries you, dear. No matter how many times Elena calls you dear, every time she does, you feel a tingling sensation in your stomach. Is it normal for them to have tails intertwined all the time? Both women watch you in silence before responding, and Elena's smile falters for a second. Binary stars use their tails to stabilize themselves, and yes, I think it's the same. That's right. Right. It's the same question, we just asked different people. You must eat. Alright. Oh, wow, okay. That's a long one. Not as long as the other one that we did, but, you know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a nice... I like this, conceptually. I like the characters. I like the art style is very beautiful. I like the writing. I have no complaints about it. There's nothing to complain about. I mean, there's a lot of options here that lead to the same things, similar things. That's fine though. I mean, I get it. You want. I wonder if like when he makes like the end that we're all desperately waiting for, like, because this is only the second part, and I think there's a third part on the way. You know, if like all the decisions that you make will come together, like if you ask the sun women instead of the husband will be like, oh, why didn't you come to me with your concerns or something? I don't know, or like I'm trying to remember what it's like to live with the other guy, and I just forgot because it was terribly uncomfortable and unpleasant, nearly. Because he is so combative. He was so... I guess he was very frightened as well. Very frightened. Very pushy. Pushing everybody away. But he does care about everyone in the garden. And he doesn't care at all, really, about you in particular, just the outcome that you provide for him. And then I feel like with the second guy that I was with, the Unum, he cared more about you as long as you did what you wanted, so what he wanted, basically. So as long as you give them what they want, then it'll be okay. It'll be okay. So yeah, that was To Eat a God, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and goodbye.